What's America's mission? That's what I'm about to tell you.
Wow.
The world is brimming with information, and yet the odds are you're not getting any of it. CNN and Fox News, MSNBC, they've become these fast food news companies, right? 30-second sound bites, appetizer clips. They're not giving you any news. They're giving you
tasty tidbits of some newsy little treats.
Right? It ain't journalism. It's corporate advertising. That's where America's mission steps in. Because now you've got a simple yet urgent call to action. Join the fight.
We must rise up, which is why I know every single one of you is here. Thank you.
Meet some great people like Kimberly C., Kelly J., Walter, JP, Andrew, Ryan, Pi, Stacy, Adam Karabachi, right? Ask them. They'll tell you the same thing that I'm telling you. It's not just about saving our values. It's about saving the soul of our unique country. Watching Sean Hannity ask a 60-second question for a 15-second answer ain't cutting it anymore. That's not making a difference. That's why getting involved with the group is so important. For me, it's America's mission, period. And that's because of the people who lead that group. DustinStockton, Jen Lawrence, they've been there.
Them who would make sure things didn't get out of hand. And you were in the opposite faction that said we shouldn't do that.
The campaigns, the elections, they fought the fights. That works for me. In fact, listen here to Dustin as he talks with Matt Storm, who, by the way, hosts a great podcast and is one of the best XSpace hosts out there. Ask any one of the Cardone sisters, brothers. You're just jealous. Shut up. Anyway, here's Matt with JP, Jen, talking to Dustin.
What we found and where we have access to is the Color Revolution playbook that they have used and deployed against a bunch of us, including very specific examples of sending bots to demoralize people, personally hacking into people's accounts, sending out incendiary messages to like all their contacts, then deleting them all and giving people access back to their accounts so they seem crazy. Oh my God, that wasn't me. Somebody hacked my account and said everybody is right, like threw out all this inflammatory stuff. We actually have the records of them doing that shit.
Hey, America's mission has a treasure trove of talented people that they can bring into the fold at any time, Matt Storm just being one of them. I'm going to tell you about some of those people, tell you how you can follow them, tell you how you can get the inside scoop that only they can bring. But hold on. That's coming up, not right now. Hold your horses there, Pilgrim. Okay, that was outdated. John Wayne. America's mission forces state and local leaders onto the X platform to defend themselves, but also to promote themselves. I can't tell you how many local congressmen and mayors and Senate candidates have all come on to the platform to engage with the America's mission audience. Maybe it's because they know in 2024, they've got to speak to us. These people at America's mission, they're active. And now you can be too. Support those who are fighting these battles because it's not just their fight, it's yours too. Stay informed, stay vigilant, and remember you can join me and Destiny every Wednesday at 5 o'clock, only on X. Stop by, introduce yourself, take the mic. After you've done that, come back here. Make sure you like and subscribe, hit that notification bell so you don't miss any videos. And leave a note in the comment section below. Let us know what you think. Those kind of feedback issues, they don't go unnoticed. They're heard. At America's mission, I'm telling you, your voice is heard. Because when you think about it, that's kind of how the United States is supposed to work. So if you're like me and you've got something to say, then say something.
America Mission is a community dedicated to increasing civic awareness and shifting power back to citizens through education and engagement. We invite you to join us and make America your mission. XSpaces, a feature on X, has transformed the landscape of political engagement by offering a dynamic platform for live audio conversations with followers and the broader X community.
We're talking about a bill out of Maine called LD 1735. This is a transgender trafficking bill. It doesn't matter where you live. It doesn't matter what state you live in.
Good news. Elon Musk just responded to Libs of TikTok about the main issue. So it's pretty awesome. All of a sudden, my phone started blowing up with text messages. The Elon, maybe he's listening on a burner. Elon, bring the real account in here. Bring some real attention to the issue. We had incredible success with this, with Truth Trench, with Aaron Stevenson and the missing children, where we were able to deliver 15,000 calls in a space.
We've been doing these spaces. We get congressmen and senators in here. Spaces are different than social media, though. This is like, because you can sit and have conversations and hear each other's changes in tone. It's so different than just a tweet or a post on Facebook.
What a neat concept. This is awesome. I just want to reiterate how I'm grateful for you guys and for drawing awareness to this, because it gives the people power.
Offering topical spaces throughout the week, as well as breaking news, America Mission has effectively leveraged the power of XSpaces to bridge grassroots movements with the digital political sphere, reshaping the political dialogue and driving meaningful change. As a grassroots organization committed to supporting America First candidates and fighting political corruption, we are dedicated to upholding conservative American values and principles. Visit americamission.com, where you can shop, get involved, get engaged, and get to work on making America your mission.
I've had enough. Had enough, AWOL Nation. Let's try to think of the right kind of music to kick off MAGA bullish September. So welcome everybody. Please repost the space. This is going to be one of the most intense Septembers that any of us have ever lived through. I'll just tell you right now, shit is about to get real across the board. And so everybody needs, it's time to buckle up, because September
right? And I normally start these spaces by going like real hardcore hype music, but and make no mistake, I am insanely hyped about what we're seeing at MAGA right now. So, right, the MAGA hat token on ETH, the work that Diligent just put in on the border, bro. What you and Anthony and Nick were able to accomplish. The video's up top, you guys make sure you go share it, right? Watch it. This is the kind of thing that we can do. This is what I got in crypto for in the first place, right? To be able to fund the kind of activity that no one else funds. You go to rich people, they're not doing this stuff. It takes communities coming together to pull this stuff. Excellent work, Diligent. Like really, just all the way around, incredible. Crazy proud of you, man. Crazy proud of you and like the work you put in. So, in a lot of ways, my hype level for the token. Here's the thing: when you see something like what's happening at MAGA the last couple days, where one project seems to be going up while everything else is going down, I refer to it as relative strength. And the relative strength right now of the MAGA token is intense. And I know why. And it's almost a bittersweet type deal, which is, right, I want to just be pure hype. But I think the reason that the token is doing so well is in large part because what's about to happen in September, and not in a good way. So on September 18th, we have the sentencing of Donald Trump in New York on the bullshit 34 felonies. Now, it's my opinion that the Supreme Court ruling on presidential immunity was the death blow for like the seriousness of those charges. And again, I could get into the whole like nonsense. It's blatant political lawfare being waged against Donald Trump. And the sentencing, I think we kind of have to expect some degree is going to be follow the same lines that the trial did. It's going to be horse shit all the way around. So right, like they found new ways to extend. They claim, right, they got around the statute of limitations by saying there was another crime. They never identified what that other crime was. I mean, it's all a bunch of nonsense. But we should expect that to continue. And so what's about to happen is that the intensity around politics is about to go from 0 to 10,000 real quick. Real quick. And what that means for Politify tokens, MAGA, is that there's going to be an intensity around. I'll just give you guys a couple examples. Here's what I'm expecting over the course of the next few weeks. We're going to see the scumbag media fantasizing about Donald Trump in prison in a way that is so over the top disgusting that it's hardly going to be bearable, right? Like you can expect the MSNBC and CNN and ABCs, they're going to be salivating over the idea that Judge Merchant could send Donald Trump to prison somehow. And that's going to lead to tons of us calling it out and people being incredibly fired up for what's going to be the sentencing. And then we're going to have the sentencing. And again, we don't know where it's going to go. I believe if justice was being followed, they would look at the Supreme Court immunity ruling and, right, dismiss the charges. I think that the Supreme Court is going to have an obligation to step in. We've already seen some other attorney generals. But here's what it means for MAGA and for Politify. We're about to see a rally behind President Trump. And what I mean by that is we have raised the crypto army that President Trump called for. We've raised it at MAGA. We've built out the meme army, the crypto army, the donors, the on the ground badasses like Diligent out there grinding. I'm almost certainly going to go. Like, I can't believe I'm going to do it because I hate New York. Like, honestly, because this is hardly an isolated thing. I went through my bullshit was the same like group of New York attorneys that are targeting Trump. The Steve Bannon trial was supposed to be under Judge Merchant. That's coming in like December or January. And right, like I'm testifying on behalf of Steve in that, maybe. And so I do not want to go to New York. I do not want to be there. I see it as like occupied territory. But we've got to go. We have to show up. And so what we're about to see is that we're going to rally behind President Trump. We're going to go after the media when they violently fantasize about Donald Trump getting raped in prison, all the other bullshit that we're about to see. And I frankly, I think it's great for the token, right? Like I that's why I said it's almost bittersweet, which is this kind of attention is no doubt going to be good for the token. I think that's why we're seeing the incredible pump that we've had thus far, which is, right, while everything else has been sliding, ETH, Bitcoin, Solana, the other meme token, everything has been like on this backslide, and yet we went up to 45, we retraced back to 32, and boom, we're right back up, flirting with $50 million market cap again. And I expect that to continue as the attention focuses. I just kind of wish it was, you know, attention around things that weren't so evil and corrupt. You know what I'm saying? It's hard for me to do because I'm crazy hyped, right? I love watching the value of my wallet go up. Make no mistake. It's good.
Oh,
It's
Dustin,
great to see.
we got to be. Well, I mean, it's good for more than just making people money, right? Like, if the project succeeds, then we have more funds to tackle things like what we saw at the southern border over this last week, right? I can say personally, you know, a community-driven project, we don't have any major holders. The dev's not the biggest holder, you know, like all of these, we don't have any major KOLs who are holding. So like the community owns this project, but all of the things that you've seen with us going on the ground, boots on the ground, sending you and I to Nashville, sending me to all of these Trump rallies, going to the southern border, all of this stuff happens based on the success of the project, right? So the project coincides with the MAGA movement actually in real life. It's a hopeful thing, right? Like if the project is doing well, we have more of an ability to get our message out and to expose what's going on and get Donald Trump elected. That is the number one mission right now, is we have to make sure that we do everything we can to get Donald Trump elected, even with all of this lawfare against him, even with all of the bullshit that the Democrats are trying to do. We have to be above it. We have no choice. We have no choice. We have to win. And for me personally, that means that MAGA has to win.
Well, without a doubt. And right, again, I'm so good. When me and Diligent came on to the MAGA Hat project, that was number one for us, which is like, what can we do as part of this project in order to support content creators and to support the movement and support like making sure that we do everything in our power to get President Trump elected. Hugely important. And with that said, like, it's working, and you're seeing the results of it already. And I talked about going up to New York for a reason, which is, right, I don't think that there's ever been a more important time to show solidarity with President Trump in the lead up to the sentencing on the 18th. And it's really simple. Put the red MAGA hat on. Wear it proudly, right? Send the message. Do not be afraid of people who might confront you or other nonsense. Bring it, right? This is what they are doing, is destroying our government. They're destroying the faith in our institutions and destroying the entire concept of justice in America, but with this kind of political targeting. So to me, right, yes, we're doing the sponsorships. That's great. That, like, we're so grateful that we've got the MAGA Hat Project to help us, like, do things like go to the border and go to Bitcoin Nashville and go to the Trump sentencing and all the other things we're going to do between now and the election. But it's also just as critical what's happening in this community. And here's the thing. Donald Trump, right, as a decorated veteran of the great meme war of 2016, where we memed the greatest internet troll of all time into the White House, you cannot undersell how important the memes are for success and victory in this election cycle. And you cannot find me a project that goes harder with the memes than MAGA. And you're just not going to do it. The memes are absolutely fire across the board. And the reason I pointed out, like, the violent fantasies that we're going to witness from the left and from the provocateurs and from all this other nonsense, the reason I made sure to point that out is because we need to be prepared to respond. We need to be Trump's voice on this, because remember, he's gagged. He is ordered by the court not to defend himself or speak about the case in very specific ways. It's an insane miscarriage of justice. And so September is insanely bullish for MAGA, because all of the attention is going to shift, like, to the September 18th hearing. And we have, like, as a community, we have a lot of work to do. But I'll tell you this, this is, again, while everything else has been sliding, MAGA has been surging, and because smart money is realizing that this is election crunch time. We have like 68, 67 days until the election. And then we have the sentencing right dab in the middle of the month. And we all of the eyes of the world are going to be on this. And you're going to see this movement of people wearing their red MAGA hat in solidarity of President Trump. And you're going to see that spring up everywhere. And you're going to see people taking to the street. And you're going to see it's just the intensity is about to go from 0 to 100. And one of the ways that I'm going to take advantage is by, like, loading up my MAGA bags. And when you look at the chart, I mean, it's a thing of beauty. Like, I've watched these long consolidations before, and the longer the consolidation, the more violent the breakout. And I don't mean that like literal violence. I mean, like, it's just when it breaks out bigly. And with all this attention, I see it playing out this way. And the great thing is what Diligent, the flywheel effect of MAGA, which is the better the token does, the more opportunity we have to go out and represent the cause and the movement. And I think that cycle of token does well, that garners attention, that garners the funds that we need to be able to run around and, like, do real life stuff that matters, that affects the election, right? It's
that also garners more attention, right?
Right. Garners more attention, which makes the price, like, again, continue to go up. And I think that, like, cycle is something that, like, we are really lucky to be a part of, and is going to be groundbreaking for politics more broadly. Which is, I and those of you know, the whole reason I've invested so many years of my life in Politify, I see this as the new way that we're going to run campaigns and politics into the future. Essentially decentralizing campaign finance through the use of tokenization. It's the long thesis that I won't get into, but the long and short of it is we are in for an intense September. And it's wildly bullish for MAGA because the eyes of the world are going to be on this thing. And it's going to be so emotionally charged, right? Because we're not just talking about like regular old politics, like, oh, Kamala and Trump are going to debate. We're literally talking about like these crooked scumbags are literally like trying to like throw Donald Trump in prison in at the height of the presidential campaign. And there's the speculation is the Supreme Court going to finally wake the fuck up and do something. The level of just insane charged attention is it. I can't think of anything. I honestly can't think of anything that has ever happened right out there. And it's scheduled in politics. It's going to be this intense. I just can't. So anyway, that's why I kind of like I'm hyped. I'm crazy excited.
We do have the debate coming up as well. That's coming up on the 10th. That's right before. So it's going to be a crazy week. Like we have a lot going on, both in MAGA, the MAGA world, and in politics. These next 3 weeks, right? It is going to be insane. I'm working on another trip. I don't want to give out any details just yet. But it's going to be with some big political figures. It's going to be some crazy shit. MAGA is going to be repping. Also, we have the debate with Kamala Harris on the 10th. That is expected to be very heated. That's going to be a big event. I will be hosting a space for that, a MAGA space for that, as well as we will be covering the Donald Trump sentencing in New York. And I'm actually considering flying up there for that, Dustin. I don't know if you want to meet me up there, but I'm considering about doing a live video space on the ground outside of the sentencing. I think that would be pretty wicked. I do have Starlink, so I don't have to worry about data. I think that's called for at this point. We need to go be on the ground representing and supporting Donald Trump right there.
And again, I've warned people, like I don't want to go behind enemy lines, which is why I consider, but we have to go. So just again, like if you're looking at, right, and I get it, because sometimes the story of my life, right? There's such a thing as being too early, right? I have talked about like the election, like meta, for how long now? Like probably 2 years, and to be honest, right? Because it makes so much sense, right? Like when the eyes of the world are on U.S. politics, like they are every 4 years, like of course political tokens are going to do well. But it's been a weird cycle. We didn't really have a primary on the left or right. There was no like excitement there. It was like pretty much a given, right? The Democrats rigged it for Biden and then swapped out Biden for Kamala at the last second. And Trump was always like a runaway winner. And so we didn't really have the kind of process that we normally have. And so as a result, and listen, we've had our pumps, but Politify has kind of been one of those things like, is it ever going to happen? Well, you're starting to see it now, and you're starting to see it because the intensity level, like I said, is ramping up tenfold. And I think it's going to be a massive, massive month for MAGA and the world and the country. And frankly, I think a lot in the next 65, 70 days is going to, like, a lot of what the future is going to look like is going to be decided on whether or not we get the crypto president and somebody who is openly like supporting crypto and who is anti-war and make America healthy again, right? Like the RFK like coalition coming together behind President Trump, or whatever the hell it is that Kamala and the Democrats represent now. Communism, price controls, and insanity. Like economic ignorance. Yeah, it's crazy, man. All right, Abdur, go ahead, bro. Abdur, you there? All right, we'll give him a second to get back to the microphone. In the meantime, you guys, repost the space. Good to see everybody here. Whale, great to see you, bro. Kim, shout, Kim, where I assume we are simulcasting this all over.
We are on QUX and X Live and here. So we're not out of Rumble or I don't think. Maybe we are. I don't know.
I want to talk about what we all witnessed this last week, right? So using the platform Elon Musk is giving us, we were able to take Starlink and a portable battery in spaces in a MAGA space and bring 25,000 people to the southern border to see what's happening live, right? No other project, no other spaces host is doing this right now. No other spaces. We are at the forefront of all of this. No, this is like some groundbreaking shit that's happening here. I'm not like, it's really hard to articulate. I don't really quite think people have grasped what this means, but with the emergence of this technology coupled with projects who are willing to support, MAGA journalists and MAGA creators, and with creators who are willing to put themselves out there on the line, we are going to fundamentally change how media works in our country, right? No longer do we have to let NBC, ABC, CBS tell us lies, what they want to tell us anymore. We can go right out there and let everybody experience that themselves. Not only that, but when you couple that with a political movement, right? Now Donald Trump and the MAGA movement, now MAGA conservatives have a weapon that they can use against the lying ass mainstream media. They can't deny live video at the scene, right? They can't say it's AI. They can't deny it. They can't say it's fake. It's happening right there. People who are questioning whether it's real or not can come up on stage and interact with what's going on the ground. This is huge. And so you're going to be seeing a lot more of that in the next couple of months. We're going to utilize this tool to try to push the message as hard as we can about what's going on with the corruption in our country, what's going on with the lies they're feeding against Donald Trump, and really try to get across the finish line.
Absolutely.
Sorry for my rant.
No, love it. Beauty, go ahead, get in here.
Oh, dude, thank you so much. And man, Diligent, those spaces, man, as a father with kids, thank you and God bless you so much for going down to the southern border. I tuned into a few of those spaces, and man, you're like finding families with little girls, and you're wondering where the little girls are, and you're seeing like clothes on the ground, and man, wow, you're right. They can't censor this. They can't like lie about it because you're right there and you're filming it using Starlink. Man, that is unbelievably cool, man. There's certain spaces out in my hometown where I go and I lose complete and total reception, man. So the fact that you're on the southern border and you're exposing this, that is unbelievably cool. And I do.
And not possible without MAGA. I'll just say that right now. That would not happen without MAGA, without the MAGA project.
Man, so the simple fact that I'm investing in MAGA and I'm helping you, it definitely wants to bring a tear to my eye, dude, because, oh, man, that needs to happen more. As far as like the MAGA token is concerned, and putting on that red MAGA hat, dude. I know a lot of you probably will get like super nervous about it, and you will have arguments in your head, like with other people, you know, like they're gonna walk up to me and they're gonna say this and that, and they're gonna yell and they're gonna scream and they're gonna call me an asshole and I'm gonna blah 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 and we're gonna fight. And I'm telling you, like 9 times out of 10, it never ends up that way. Like I remember walking into a store and I was walking around with like full on anxiety. And I was like wondering who is going to throw the first punch. And not a single person confronted me. In fact, I think some people kind of smiled and shook my hand and congratulated me. And actually an old veteran kind of gave me like a salute, like, good job on doing your part, son, you know? But now that we're involved in this particular MAGA token, and this token is a new thing, right? And every single day, there's going to be someone new signing up for Twitter, someone new signing up for X, someone who is just starting their brand new crypto journey. And like my wife, she's actually just starting her crypto journey, man. She's just learning all this stuff, you know. She raised her hand. She wanted me to know that she's listening. Anyway, so she and I are now invested in this MAGA token, and I'm pushing out different photos, different memes, different cartoons, different whatever, because every single day, like I mentioned, someone brand new is signing up and they're going to see that. They're going to see, you know, what is this particular meme token? They're going to look at like Trump tokens, which I want to succeed as well, but it's all just memes of Trump themselves, as opposed to we are the red hat. We can take Donald Trump and put that red hat on him, right? Or as opposed to other tokens will have to do just, you know, a meme of Trump himself. But we can take that red hat and we could put it on Oprah. We could put it on Nancy Pelosi. We could put it on Kamala Harris. We could put it on Elon Musk. We could put it on anyone that you can think of, because that is how memeable this red hat is. And I'm going to emphasize again, every single day, there's a brand new person signing up for Twitter. There's a brand new person seeking some kind of meme token to invest in, just like I did when I signed up for Twitter, because Facebook sucks. I got censored on Facebook. Now I'm here. So I did my journey, did my search, found all you beautiful, beautiful sons of bitches. And I'm here now. I'm pushing this token because I truly believe in this token. And man, thank you for letting me speak. Like I mentioned, Grok 2.0, unbelievably cool, man. You could take Grok, you can type in anything, man. I get creative, get in there. Look up something like, create a photo of a nightmarish atmosphere in outer space using dragons and space monkeys, and watch what comes up. Hit the refresh button as many times as you can, because you will see some amazing artwork pop up. And like I said before, it's not just Donald Trump. It's the red hat on any possible thing you can think of. So thank you so much for letting me speak, guys.
Nah, Beauty, always good to hear from you, bro. Marty, go ahead, get in there.
Dustin, Diligent, what's up, everybody? You know, Beauty, I kind of wanted to just follow up on that really quick. As we've been pumping out a lot of content lately, I think it's been really cool. We've gone down this nostalgia train lately, and I think it's really cool because it's kind of making, you know, it's allowing us to spread awareness without it being abrasive in a way, you think. And I always think of like Cross 12, who's in here, and like my siblings. I have 3 sisters that are they're all under 25. And like, they really enjoy, like, obviously like animated characters. And I've really noticed in these past couple of days with us pushing this new content, we have just received so much positive feedback from, you know, not just like your millennials or your boomers. We're getting like Gen Zers that are actually getting out there and resharing our content. And I think it's really important for us right now. I mean, this is the most important election of our lifetime, you know, and I don't think us as a nation can really survive another 4 years of really what we've experienced. So I think it's up to all of us to continue to push whatever it may be, anything that you think would be beneficial to solidify Donald Trump as our president, get it out there, whatever it may be. And like Beauty was saying, like, you can create whatever you want. But I think we're in an era right now where memes are very prevalent, and they carry so much weight. So I think it's very important for us, everyone in here, just, you know, keep reposting Dustin and Diligent Spaces, remain engaging with communities that are actually spreading true information, engage with projects that are actually fighting the good fight. I think that we need to continue to keep doing that as we move forward, because we only have so much time left until election day is here. But that's all I really wanted to say. Dustin, Diligent, appreciate everything you guys are doing. It's really fun riding this wave with you guys in the MAGA project. And obviously it's just badass to see Diligent in the trenches, battling chupacabras, as I like to say. So shout out to you guys. Happy to be here. And I'm going to go dark now and just keep listening.
Right on, right on. Now listen, the vibes are immaculate, right? And riding high coming in, this is the time for us to just triple down on onboarding and getting people involved, because there has never been a time like the moment for a project like this. It's time to just get after it. Go ahead, Mark, get in here.
What's up, man? Can you hear me good? Can y'all hear me?
Yes.
Okay, good. Sorry. I'm at the river on my boat with my family. But I just wanted to jump in here really quick. And I kind of want to hit on the heart real quick. Diligence, man, I'm so thankful for what you do. Man, it like Grizzly said, man, dude, some of those videos absolutely brought a tear to the eye, man. I mean, I've got 2 girls, I've got 2 boys. And anytime I see that stuff, even in movies, it brings me to tears, man, because I know it's real. But I really want to bring this point up real quick, because Diligence has said, hey, none of this would be possible without MAGA. And I would just like to share really quick. You might be thinking, we're a no tax coin. If you didn't know, now you know. And so you might be thinking, how is this being made possible by MAGA? Well, let me tell you, when we first launched this coin, and me and Marty used to be in Spaces, and there was another guy, we used to just hold these competitions, just straight up meme competitions, and we get on there, and I would say something like, hey, I'm gonna give $100 worth of MAGA. And like one by one, each person, whoever was holding MAGA, was like, dude, I'll throw in 100. I'll throw in 100. At one point, I think we had like $1,200 reserved for someone who just, for a simple meme competition. But I just want to say that that love has really carried over in a powerful way, and it just brings me back to say, how is it made possible by MAGA? Well, I'll tell you. I mean, there's people that have been in for a while. There's OGs that have bought into MAGA for a while, and it's straight up out of the goodness of individuals' hearts that this is being made possible. That this is just people saying, hey, I'm gonna donate. Hey, I'm gonna give, whether it's MAGA or I'm gonna give ETH. I'm just gonna bless that person, and you know what? You reap what you sow. And all crypto aside, that's just a value. You reap what you sow. If you ever been to church and you see they take up like an offering, I mean, literally, that's what's happening when we talk about, backing Diligent and backing Dustin. We're literally just taking an offering, out of our own personal stash. And it's just a beautiful thing. I mean, I've already said to myself, when this project hits 100, I am absolutely taking something out, and I'm going to just put it towards a cause, because again, guys, you reap what you sow. And this part of this whole thing is truly what separates MAGA from the rest of any other crypto coin. No other crypto coin does this crap. And it's not crap. we just give, you know what I mean? It's if we had a tax, then yeah, we would just put the taxes, but we're not taxes. That's what sets us apart. And, we just give out of the goodness of our heart. And that's why this team and leadership and dev is unlike anything I've ever witnessed. That's all I want to say.
Great stuff. As always, that's one of the things I love about this community all the way around. And the admins, just these guys never stop grinding. And I've talked about the adaptability, but again, just think about like what we're in for in September. The debate, the sentencing, like the intensity is just about to ramp up to almost unfathomable level. It's going to be intense. Cross, where are you up to today, my man? How you doing?
What's up, everybody, man? It's like I'm excited, man. You know, just super excited on this blessed, you know, Monday, it's Labor Day, and we just get after it, man. You know, and I was going to give some thanks. I'm gonna go give a big shout out at the end. I want to give a thank you to, you know, Dustin, you know, Diligent, man. I really, you know, I'm always on y'all spaces, you know. And that border space that was insane, man. I watched it for as long as I could, but that space was insane. Then you got, you know, Dustin hosting his late night conspiracy spaces be good, and mega spaces be wonderful, you know. And then you got just the community, man. Shout out to Beauty, man. You know, that's my right hand, man. You know, he comes with the crazy grump pictures that it might pop up late at night. You might see, he might post something, and he just, what he's thinking in his mind is just unbelievable. The pictures he come up with is amazing. So shout out to Beauty, man, the pictures. But I want to give this big shout out to this guy named, he won't do it, so I'll do it for him. Marty, man, he ain't gonna give himself any props, but this man is a bull, man. He is a bull. This is how you know he's a bull. I used to run stuff by him before I did it. Even though he's a regular community member, I'd be like, hey, Marty, should I do this? Should I do that? That's how much of a bull he really is. He ain't gonna say it, but I'm gonna say it for him. Marty is a bull. I'm glad he's a part of this team. I'm giving him the biggest shout out today because this man does not stop working. I don't stop either, but he's on another level. He is not human at all. I'm telling you this right now. Marty is not human, okay? But anyway, that's all I want to say. But everybody keep working. I love everybody, man. Let's get Trump in the office. Let's get Mega to the moon so we can have financial freedom. And I yield back, man. Thank you for letting me speak.
Nah, Cross, I always love hearing from you, man. And listen, the work that people are individually putting in, it's when you find a really community-driven project that has all the right elements, the most iconic meme of all time underlying it, that's when you know you're in a good place. Live by faith. Go ahead, get in there.
Well, first off, this is the first time I've heard of the mega coin. Actually, I love the things you guys are talking about. What I do love more than that is the fact that you use it to help people like Diligent or, you know, others that are trying to bring the truth and awareness through video. And so I'm giving my shout out to you guys for putting that together, but also to Diligent for putting his effort in doing what his heart says. Because I'll say this, I'm a proponent for Trump. I know that September is going to be big, but I think October and pushing the truth out there is going to be even bigger because it's the final stretch. And why I say that is because things like what he did at the border, I'm a big proponent of, okay, you guys might not know me at all. I'm an AMC shareholder and I went to see Sound of Freedom 5 times. And every time I left, I couldn't speak because I know the atrocities are real. You know, the City of Dreams, it's real. And I am 100% on board with supporting anybody who's fighting for that, for the fairness of our kids, because they're going through hell. And Diligent, because of your choosing to get down there to see the realities, I just had one question. You know, we got to make it aware, but my question is, what was the one thing that impacted you the most down there? Because I believe not just the fact that it's a meme coin, but putting together videos that show truth through the support of something like this is valuable because people do not realize it's real. It's hard. And I know, Diligent, you probably experienced some stuff, but I would love to hear, you know, what touched you the most, what hurt, because I think people need to hear the truth. And that's what we fight for, right? Truth.
Anything else for you?
Nope, thank you. Yeah, sorry.
69, I think.
So the one thing that impacted me the most, and it actually triggered me pretty hard, was when we were scoping out some of the cartel outposts where they do, this isn't where they smuggle drugs, this isn't where they smuggle migrants. This is where they smuggle kids, right? Particularly, specifically kids. We found a pair of shoes that had been, there's a little girl, a pair of little girls' pink shoes that had been hog-tied together. And then you had seen that once they had got her to the front porch of the place, they cut the shoelaces so that they could take her inside. I saw some other shit that I'm not at liberty to talk about right now that correlates with that. But it put a really dark stain in my soul. I can say that much. Like, it was, it immediately triggered me off. I was fucking, yeah, I was on one after that for a little bit. I was just angry as fuck. It still kind of haunts me. And the thing about it is, and this is the evil that we're dealing with. After we saw that and confronted, you know, the cartels were watching this the entire time. They saw how I reacted to that. So we went back out there the following day, and those shoes had been moved and set up on the ledge of the porch and tied back together as a message. And those are the fucking people that we're only allowing into our country. The people who do that type of shit, the organ harvesting, the fucking trafficking and sexual trafficking of small children, the worst and most heinous things that you could possibly think of. That is what I saw that have impacted me the most. And that is why we have, like, that is a facet of the evil of this administration that is trying to stay in power. That is a feature of the regime that controls our country right now. It's not a side effect. It's not a result. It is a feature of what's in power right now. So it definitely, lit a fire under my ass, so to speak, to make some changes. We have to win. What will result if we don't is just pure evil.
So if I can respond to that, that's what it's about. I think you guys putting together this MAGA, coin has a way to be able to bring these things about. And again, this is the first time I've heard about the coin, but I've been in your spaces, Diligent and Dustin. It's appreciated you open this one up. We all have a heart. I think people are not really hearing it though. Jen, it's good to see you. I've seen you around quite a bit. My thing is that, we stand in the gap for our kids. My son is now 22, but I have stepkids, 6 and 12. I want to have another, even though I'm at the age of 50. I know that's kind of old, but my girlfriend and I would want to have a new one. But we do not want them to come into, you laugh, I know. But, I'm going to say this. I don't want them to come into a situation that we see. I want difference. I want to be the change that this world needs. And how do I start it? You guys are doing it right now. You're giving the money to Diligent to be able to do these videos to bring awareness, supporting many different, aspects of the Trump campaign. I believe that 100% that we need him in office, and I believe that he will. And I believe that he's bringing communities. Look at the gaps he's bridging. He's bringing people from the other side over to his team. What a great way America can survive and grow, by bringing commonality, by bringing understanding, by bringing facts and truth, and just being who we are. I just needed to say that. It's on my heart, man.
Thanks, brother. Really appreciate that. And thanks for, I haven't really had an opportunity to talk about some of what I saw, like the worst of it. I'm posting stuff on social media, but it's really even hard to articulate like how heinous some of the things that we saw were, man. The amount of rape trees, right? These are not even like along the border wall. These are on back roads, side roads going off shooting the border wall for miles, where every other tree there is a woman's bra, a child's underwear, a woman's underwear, a woman's dress, from where these stick fuckers have raped or assaulted these people and then hung it up as a trophy. They're everywhere down there. It's insane. Go ahead, Jen.
Yeah, Dilly, I think it's what's really interesting, right? Is and your videos really, showed this happening. First of all, when you guys had the illegals on the space, there was like what, 25 of them, right? And you saw
21.
21. You saw one Border Patrol guy show up, right? And I think it speaks to the
Showed
larger issue.
Showed up hours after we called him too. Like it was.
Yeah. Well, it speaks to the larger fact that we don't control the border. The United States doesn't control the border. And another thing that was highlighted is like our Border Patrol is now known as like a Uber service, right? And when we built the wall in Sunland Park, where we built, there was a parking lot on the Mexican side, and there was an American parking lot on the other side. And literally all you had to do was walk across the parking lot, down a little like I don't even know what you call it, a little ditch, and you're in America, and they were getting Ubers on the other side, right? So like our Border Patrol isn't even there to stop them. They are there to put them in their cars and drive them to like wherever they get processed or Catholic charities. And then they are just released into the United States. And I don't think people realize that the United States government doesn't control the border. It is in the hands of the cartels, and the Border Patrol are like an Uber service for the cartel to get their people into the country. And it doesn't have to be like that, right? Like you have these politicians stand up there and they're like, oh, we can't close the border. Oh, there's too much commerce. Oh, we can't do bullshit. You could absolutely close the border in 24 hours, shut it down, no one in, no one out. And you know what? Just like in other countries, if you approach the border, you get shot. And you know what? If they start doing that, that's a deterrent. You don't even have to really shoot anybody. But if they knew that their lives, like U.S. Border Patrol was going to start shooting at them if they tried to cross the border, I guarantee you it would freaking be a deterrent, just like a wall would be. In the places where we saw with Diligent, the wall just ends. It just ends. And it's not like the border ends. No, the border keeps going. The wall ends.
And I want to highlight something you just said too, is like those 21 migrants, only 5 or 6 of them were men. The rest of them were all women and children. So I just think about that. Most of them, it's like 80 to 90% are brutalized or sexually assaulted on the way. The men were afraid to speak to us, right? They were afraid to tell us how they got there, right? They were afraid to tell us anything because they had been in the hands of the cartel. The cartel, I can tell you this, the cartel controls the U.S.-Mexico border, period. That is what one of the biggest revelations, which I kind of knew it, you hear about it, but to see it in action, right, is different. We saw far more evidence of crime than we did of law enforcement everywhere we went. And not only that, the part where Jen's talking about where the border ended, where there was no wall, it was just open. That was a really kind of secluded, dark, bushy, mountainy area. Where a lot of that's where a lot of like the child and sexual trafficking, I think, is going on at scale, like larger groups, where you can see there's a lot more foot traffic. I think that if we had not have been there, there's a very good chance that that group would have gotten picked up on this side by the cartels. We just happened to intercept them before they got to their pickup spot. There was a car that went by that was not Border Patrol and had no business being out there otherwise, shortly after we intercepted the group. So just showing you that even the mainstream media not being present out there to report on this, like our presence disturbed the entire area. A lot of the Border Patrol journalists are just going out there. They're just sitting around waiting for something to happen. Not really anybody is actually hitting the road and aggressively looking for what's happening out there as like as hard as we are. I mean, I'm not saying it doesn't happen. So I'm not trying to disparage anybody, but from what I saw out there, right, we were the ones, we disturbed the hornet's nest, both on the border patrol side, on the Mexican military side, and the cartels all beefed up their presence because we were there, right? And so if just the media, if just independent journalists, if just citizen journalists can cause that much of a disturbance, imagine what would happen if our mainstream media was out there reporting 24/7. Imagine what would happen if our government was out there doing what it was supposed to do. These atrocities wouldn't be taking place. So it's important. I am going back to the border sometime in the next few weeks. I'm going back with Anthony. I'm getting that laid out. We're going to do it bigger. We're going to do it better. We're going to get more attention. We're going to get more coverage. And we're going to get bigger names involved with this time and really kind of drive the message home. And MAGA is going to be all over that. Go ahead, Jen.
I thought I pressed the mute button. I didn't. So just to point this out, so when President Trump came into office, right, you had them complaining that he was separating kids at the border, right? And what Diligent showed in those videos the other night with the migrants coming across the border, you had all these kids, right? They're just random kids, and you don't really know if they're actually with their parents, right? Because what they were doing is they would traffic kids over the border, get the families in, because if you approach with a family, right, you saw this in the video the other night with Diligent Space, that when they were separating out the groups, right, the groups with the young kids and the families, they got priority over the other guys, right? The other guys were like, oh no, you're males, like you can stay out here if we can't fit everybody in the cars, right? So all of a sudden you have these quote unquote family units showing up, right? But then what they were finding is once those kids were put into America, they were then trafficked back over the border to get another group in, right? So what they were, those rapid DNA tests and the supposed separating kids out the border, right, was actually for the protection of the kids, because if they were being trafficked by the cartel and used as pawns in order to get the males who don't belong in this country into the country, because it looks like, oh, look, I'm just a dad and this is my little Mexican baby. Don't you like it? Let me in, right? Like they were doing that shit, right? And then you also had during Trump's presidency, right, you had massive groups of migrants that were purposely sent up to our border to try to make President Trump look bad, because he was trying to close the border and say, listen, no, we need a border wall. Right. So they have done everything in their power to use these poor migrants as pawns of the globalists in order to destabilize and undermine the country of the United States and Donald Trump.
100%. 100%. Go ahead, Liv, and then I'm going to go to Doc.
Yeah, I was just going to actually kind of emphasize some stuff that Jen was just bringing up. We also have to understand that Trump had an agreement with the Mexican president to try to work on the closing of the border, not just because of the illegal crossings, but because of trying to stop human trafficking at the same time. It was an agreement that they had and they had set up, but they were trying to take it down by, the Senate and the actual House were trying to stop the actual agreement. And that's when it actually happened, is right as soon as Biden got in, when they took all the funding away from the border, the border wall and everything. So, history states that Trump would do the same thing again to get the Mexican president on board, not like for funding only, but also for watching and to be able to kind of give intelligence, which is what they were doing a lot of times. So.
Yeah, absolutely. We need to get Donald Trump back in office. Doc, welcome, man. What are your thoughts on what's been said so far? I don't know if you've been able to follow along.
Yeah, hey, thanks, guys. I've been listening for a little bit. Really just wanted to hear more about the story of your trip down to the border. And dude, I'd give you a hug if you would stop by in California to go expose yourself to the abuse and the pedophilia. I mean, I've told the story before, what my contact has been like that, and it does stain you. It does affect you, and so for that, for yours and Penny's bravery for going down, to expose that. I got nothing but love for you. I mean, I don't agree with everything everybody said, but I mean, clearly you have joined a group of people, Dustin and Jen included, that have put themselves on the line for our country in a way that belies the sort of casual approach that most people here on X take. So, you know, just end with the congratulations for that. Just as one other comment, the gentleman who came up and was trying to reference what Trump had done to sort of control the border. I do believe, and I'm sure someone in this room will probably correct me if I'm wrong or confirm it if I'm right, that in comments, maybe informal comments during the campaign, Trump has indicated that he'll send the military down into Mexico to deal with the cartels, because clearly the Mexican government cannot. Their government is captured by the narco barons in the same way that our government is captured by other influences. I won't bring that up; it's not relevant right now. But I do agree. I remember I heard Dustin was saying that you know, things are about to ramp up. We've got the sentencing coming up, which Trump's not going to be going to jail, guys, but still. And the election, the October surprise, whatever it's going to be, is coming up. So although I retired last year when they took away my creators and subscribers account, I'm going to start holding a weekly space to deal with some of these issues and hit them from a policy standpoint. And if somebody wants to come up and debate with Doc, they're going to be able to give them. They're going to be given the opportunity. First space going to be Friday. I hate to pimp it out, but I'm going to anyway because I think the conversation's important. First space is going to be on those groups within the conservative movement who are now attacking Trump for a variety of reasons. We frequently comment as conservatives over the years on how conservatives seem to sort of self-destruct and that they turn in and attack each other, whereas Democrats, they all seem to fall in line. I'm going to suggest that now is the time that we all fall in line, no matter what our particular single, double, or triple issue might be with Trump, that the question of Trump versus Harris is so clear-cut as to, you know, I get angry when people are trying to manage the Trump campaign around the margins around single or you know, other issues. We need to have Trump back in office or we've lost this country. Thanks for the mic.
Absolutely, we do. Go to Paul, and then I need to, Dustin, if you can hear me, co-host Jen, I need room on stage so I can get Anthony up here. He's the border journalist who guided us through the border the entire time last week. I would really love to get him on stage so he can talk about his experience with us as well. Go ahead, Paul.
I'll go back to listeners.
No, you're good, Doc. I got room now. You're good.
Hey, Diligent, I'll drop down because I know you need space anyway. But I thank you for this conversation.
Request the microphone, Anthony. Go ahead, Paul.
And first of all, thank you guys for all the work you guys do. On a quick note, I have reached out to Anthony and to, I believe, Alexis, if I got that right. Because I want to go with you guys on that next trip. And I'm wired very similar to you guys. And, you know, I won't reveal anything because I kind of know where you're going. But I just want you to know, I'll send you a DM later. I definitely want to be a part of the solution and not sit back and not help expose all these problems. So besides that, and we could talk about that in DMs, I just want you to look for it when I send it to you. The one thing I can do, and I suggest everybody here who is spending time on X, every time I'm in any space and I'm hearing almost any political argument going on, I always bring up the simple fact that 460,000 children are going missing in our country every single year, per year, right now, the way things are. We are the worst in the world. If that's not embarrassing as an American, then I don't know what is, because India, a country of 1.4 billion, has about 96,000 children going missing per year right now on average, right? And this is probably underreported because this is what they can confirm. See what I'm saying? So if we have 500,000 children disappearing, there is no liberal on earth and there's no Harris supporter on earth that has any kind of defense that makes any kind of sense They don't even try to defend it because they're like, oh, that's just terrible. Well, why is it terrible? It's because of your border policies. You guys are allowing this to be at a level it's unprecedented, and it's never happened. So on any political space, I recommend everybody here. I'm driving right now, or I would be posting the link that I always do. Jen, I'm sure you know where my link is because I know you've been in spaces with me. You probably, it's on my profile, the children missing statistics. That alone, I think, is so powerful, and everyone needs to know it, especially in the MAGA movement. And we need to make it a part of our messaging that we need to make our children healthy again, which is what RFK said. And that has to be, I feel like that has to be front and center because it's tied to the border, it's tied to crime, it's tied to so many issues that we can solve. So I just wanted to remind everybody about those statistics. Use them in your spaces. Use them when you're talking politics. I always say if there's one issue to vote on, I even tell people, I don't care what the rest of your politics are. I really don't, because if we don't protect our children, I'm a parent, if we're not trying to protect our children, then are we human? You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel for you guys. So Diligent, I'll send you that DM later. I'll get out of the way because Anthony's voice is so powerful and I want to give him as much time as possible. I just admire what you guys are doing, and I'm praying for your safety with everything you're doing. So thank you.
Appreciate that, man. And I'll be on the lookout for that. Really appreciate your support. Anthony, man, welcome to the stage, brother. We haven't spoken on the phone. Well, yes, we have. Let's lie. I'm a lie. I did talk to you the other day. But I was going to say, man, you know, you've got a little bit of rest. I know that you are on the road a lot. You got back to see your people. Man, what a trip, dude. Like, we were talking about that space, particularly on the last night that we were, the last night that really kind of went out at night in that area, right? We did that live space. A lot of people are talking about the impact of seeing the children come across. You know, I know that personally, it struck me hard seeing you carry that baby, have that baby up on your shoulders as you came up the mountain. And then they were asking me, you know, what impacted me the most. And I would say it was the evidence of child trafficking that hit me the hardest, man. So welcome, Anthony. If you guys don't know Anthony, he's an independent border journalist, constantly grinding 24/7, always at the border somewhere, Arizona, Texas, California, maybe even we're looking at going maybe to the northern border for Canada because there's some crazy shit happening up there. But he puts his life on the line to try to get this information out, to get the truth out. Make sure that you're following him. And also, in a reply to my video, there's a link for his Gifts and Go. If you guys can, man, Anthony doesn't work for any outfit or corporate media. He works strictly on funds donated to him by the public. So we need to donate to him. Go to his Gifts and Go. Donate as much as you can because we need to keep him out there. Anthony, welcome to the stage, sir. What are your thoughts?
Hey, thank you so much for having me, man. And thank you and your whole crew for coming out, bro. And it takes a lot of courage to go out there. And now that you guys have witnessed it firsthand, it was a pretty remarkable moment, I think, for everybody that was watching, because I think it was us, for the first time, at least myself, seeing somebody handle a space the way they should be ran. I feel like I think it was just done so adequately at what we were out there and doing a great job with your whole team hosting it.
Shout out to Jen and Dustin for that part too.
Absolutely.
You guys keeping it going.
It was great to just see it come together in the way it did. The areas that we were outgoing that I took you guys to is a region that I have been tracking for close to 11 months now. And a lot of the kids, unfortunately, and you saw it firsthand, and you know exactly, and the people that were out there with us know exactly what I'm talking about. A lot of these kids, unfortunately, do go completely undetected from law enforcement. Border Patrol was forced to go out there and gather these people up simply because we were actually calling Border Patrol every 30 minutes, trying to get a unit to pick up these infants pretty much that were out there with these parents. It is very common for these individuals to get picked up on the American side. by other individuals, and unfortunately end up in the wrong hands and into a black market, underground black market. A lot of these kids that are coming in through these sectors, and I don't mean to talk about, stuff.
No, go for it. Go for it. Go for it.
A lot of these kids that are being brought through this particular area are being brought over for organ harvesting reasons. And so they'll host and hold these children alive until they've basically pieced out the whole body of the individual or the child that is being brought through these areas. And so by going out there and bringing attention to it, it is gut-wrenching and it is hard to watch, but it's something that if we don't have the fortitude or the moral high ground to defend the most vulnerable, then we have no moral high ground to stand on, no moral leg to stand on. Like, it's just so sad to witness and to know that this is happening. And to a certain extent, our government is...
They're completely responsible. They're completely responsible. Huh?
To a certain extent, they're complicit in this. And our Border Patrol agents, you see the morale down there. It's completely depleted. You see
they look defeated, bro. Each one of them look defeated.
The energy levels on these guys is just like, yeah, whatever. Like, unfortunately, that's because of the higher ups, and that's the energy that the people above them are bringing. And so they're not, a lot of these guys they're not hyped up to go to work. There's no energy in there, and they know that within a few hours of these people going out, of Border Patrol going out making apprehensions, these people will be released out into the streets within a few hours. So they don't care for the most part really anymore if they're just riding on through, getting picked up. We rode on the border for I don't know how many hours, uninterrupted, until we finally set off a very specific sensor. Then they finally approached us. But for the most part, we were uninterrupted out there. We could have been picking up kids. We could have been picking up drugs, whatever. But we were left alone completely uninterrupted.
And I want to speak to who's responsible here. So like you said, it's a top-down effect where the top is mismanaging resources. You can see in the video that I posted, and by the way, I threw Anthony's Gifts and Go up in the Jumbotron. Its space is glitchy for me, so I don't see it up there. Jen, I don't know if you can see it up there, but I threw it up there. So if you guys go to that, donate, support Anthony, that link is in the Jumbotron. But I want to say, everything I saw was, it looked to me like an intentional look the other way from the Biden-Harris administration, right? So there's a complete mismanagement of resources. We saw vehicles placed where they shouldn't have been, where it's highly publicized, right? They had the place where I saw the most Border Patrol is where it had been highly publicized, and the Mexican National Guard was actually right there plugging the hole. Matt, you gotta have my yeah, you're going down. You're going down. Okay. So anyways, the Mexican National Guard had actually plugged up the border on the other side because it had gotten so much media attention, right? The places where I saw they were needed the most, they were nowhere to be found, right? Or there would be a camera placed, every few miles, which a lot of the time wouldn't even be looking at the fence or even the direction of the road, to see people crossing. We, like Anthony had said, we come up to the top of this hill, and a cartel member, there was a truck on each side. As a matter of fact, come to find out, there was a truck on one side of the road on the Mexico side, and then there was a truck that came out a few minutes later trying to intimidate us, doing donuts. Remember, it was kicking up dirt. Well, that was another member on our side trying to intimidate us into leaving the area. That video is up in the Jumbotron. It's on all the way to the far right. But my point is that also right there was a Border Patrol digital outpost, which is like it had like a solar panel, some sensors, and a big ass camera, which it actually had 2 cameras, which they could spin around and rotate to wherever they wanted to look at. When we were out there and we could see the cartel trucks, the Border Patrol camera was looking the opposite direction. Okay, that was the case almost every time I saw one of those cameras. They have no intention, or maybe they're under orders not to try to stop this shit. Basically, and Anthony he said it, he described it perfectly, which was they are the Uber Patrol now. Their job is to facilitate the trafficking of illegal immigrants into our country. That is their job now. I can only imagine how demoralized they are. And I witnessed that at the gate. I haven't posted this video yet. I did post a clip of it, but I witnessed that at the gate at the where were we at? Where we saw the NGO guy, the rent-a-cop.
Oh, that was in San Diego sector.
Yeah. Well, yeah, Tijuana. Okay, that was in the Tijuana River Valley at one of the ports of entry there. I saw exactly what the Border Patrol's job is now, which is to load up migrants and take them into the interior. Go ahead, Anthony.
And it's bizarre when you even see them basically load up the migrants, and then they actually handle the luggage for these people, like if they've just arrived at a Disneyland resort destination about to go into the hotel type of deal. I mean, you only get that kind of service when you've paid top dollar and you're getting to LA.
They're actually using valet bags or valet tickets. Did you see that? I was like, bro.
Border Patrol's loading up their bags for them now. It's bizarre. But aside from all of that, the most important thing here is all of these kids that are being brought through. We were able to check in the immediate area some buildings that were completely being used by people that are coming in from the other side. They are coming in with car batteries, guys, and they are cutting off the direct electricity line from the city into these properties, and they are hot wiring these properties with car batteries so that they don't see a spike in the electric bill, or I don't know if the case might be that there might not be electricity at these properties. Nonetheless, they are traveling about 1.5 miles up to 2 miles by foot. These are cartel scouts to come and facilitate these people that are coming over. At the same time, we know some of the characters that are out there that are from these NGOs that are brazenly being allowed to work side by side in conjunction with the organized crime by leaving supplies, wood to burn in a state where there's a fire ban, for God's sakes. These NGOs are being allowed to just brazenly disregard the law. Here you go. Here's some firewood. Light it up. Come on in. Here's some food. Here's some water for you guys to continue on your way. Here are some flyers with the destination, with the help and assistance you can request that you are entitled to. All of this provided by the NGOs. In San Diego sector, it is an NGO called Al Otro Lado. It is run by a woman of the name Nicole Ramos. And we need to start holding these characters accountable and bringing them to justice. This is treason. This is treason.
Can I ask a question?
Go ahead.
Just in terms, how would you respond to the comment that what's being placed down there in terms of food and water is humanitarian aid? Because that sort of explanation, and I lived in San Diego for 30 years, that sort of explanation was offered by, among others, the Catholic Church for the placement of those supplies. But I'm not contesting your assertion, and I agree with it, that the NGOs are facilitating the transport over the border.
And
I witnessed it. Doc. Go ahead, Anthony. I'm sorry.
Yeah, to your point there, Doc, there's actually a migrant illegal alien encampment which is illegally being placed less than 5 feet from the border wall. And they are running it under the guise of a church operation. Coincidentally enough, right on the American side, I'm talking directly, right on the opposite side of the wall, they have put bathrooms, porta water, a huge tank of water for them, toilets, sinks to wash their hands, drink water, and stacks of wood so that they can wait there if they like, or maybe even continue on the route into the US. This is no coincidence. It is totally by design, and the Catholic Church is very much involved. They're just an activist group flying under the guise of a church, but they're far left radicals. And the Catholic Church not only embraces, abortion now, but they're also facilitating in the invasion of our country. So
then they have a history. They, of course, have a history of pedophilia that goes back centuries, and they're looking for congregants, and they know that even the legal flow from South America carries a very high percentage of Catholics. So that's why they've been doing it forever. But for them to turn a blind eye to what's happening now, that the accompanying shipment of drugs and children.
Well, Doc, it's not even them just turning a blind eye, right? Like, they are the linchpin, the cornerstone in a lot of this human trafficking all across the border, right? They are not just, turning a blind eye. They're facilitating it. And to have the Catholic Church of all things be the ones that are facilitating this, it really speaks volumes to where the Catholic Church is today.
Yeah, one of the things that people can do if they ask, they should be donating to the reporter here at GiveSendGo and a Diligent, and being involved in MAGA and all that. Not to disincent anyone from spending what limited money they have in those regards. But what people can do, if they are Catholics, is go talk to your priests. Let them know that you're seeing this, and you expect them as moral leaders, as adherents to Christ.
Say it out loud in your church, not in the quiet whispers of one-on-one. Call attention to it out loud. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Doc.
No, I mean, I think that's something that can be done easily. It can be done righteously, and may have some small effect. It's the nature of the church that, irrespective of your rank in the church, we'll just reference the Catholic Church, but all churches, Lutheran churches are doing the same thing. I promise you that. That whether you're a priest, a cardinal, or a pope, any of them have the same moral standing, have the same standing before Christ, right? And they are called upon to do His work, and they should be, even at the priest level or associate level, that they should be calling this out publicly. There's a big problem. They're moral cowards if they don't.
And it needs to be said, right? It can't just be like, oh, we know that you're doing this, it needs to stop. Like, there needs to be an outcry from Catholics, because it's not just them using their religion, right? It's them using their religion to invade the United States. And like, if you don't see how this is an invasion, like, talk to Anthony, talk to Diligent, because they'll tell you it's an invasion.
That's right. Yeah, I mean, just to ask them to have a sermon on the topic, just to make people aware of what Diligent and these guys have revealed. And it's not that hard to find it out, even if you're not connected to this group. So to put a sermon out there in front of a couple hundred people, I mean, an avalanche starts with a drop of snow on the top of a mountain.
That's right. And to piggyback off of that, if y'all really want to start coming together and helping us also in doing some research, I already know some of them, but I invite all of you guys to start digging on your own. Educate yourself on the R1 visa that is being used by a lot of these religions. Not just the Catholic Church has been using that, but also the Church of Scientology. A lot of the times they bring these people under the R1 visa, and they're basically coming in as church volunteers, but then they arrive here and they're being exploited for over 40 hours a week, working them nonstop. They hold on to their documents a lot of the time, and they're not allowed to leave wherever they are being pretty much held captive at. And if they have a family, they bring the family under the R2 visa, and that basically allows them to come over as a family unit. They will be housed by whatever religion is bringing them over. And I mean, it's a whole line of exploitation, the R1 visa program, the R2 visas, when they bring the family over. So if you guys want to start digging into that, by all means, let's all come together, and we are the new media. So R1 visa, R2 visa, Church of Scientology, Catholic Church. Let me know. Send me a message.
Right on. Thank you, Anthony. Okay, let's go through some of the hands. I just want to kind of recap for everybody if you're just joining us. We are going over the border trip that we had with independent journalist Anthony Aguero, who is on stage with us right now. By the way, MAGA supported my trip over there, so full credit to them for helping. Full credit to Anthony for putting himself on the line and showing us, we went through some pretty treacherous areas, and he does that stuff every day. I know it's probably nothing for him, but bringing people who are not experienced along with you increases the danger to yourself. So thank you for putting yourself out there, Anthony. And make sure you guys are all following him. And like I said, his Gives and Go is on the Jumbotron. Make sure that you donate and support him. That is how he operates. But yeah, we went to the southern border in California last week. We spent every day, right? I was only going to go for 1 or 2 days, and we saw so much. I'm going to add another day. Okay, I'm going to stay another day. And we ended up pretty much staying the week, right? And there was still a lot that we didn't get to do. And I just want to say this. The shit that we saw was absolutely horrific. The child trafficking, the sexual child trafficking, the evidence of organ harvesting, the human tragedy and suffering apparent there at the border cannot be overstated, right? It is absolutely horrific. It was life-changing for me anyways. Some of the things that I saw impacted me in a way that I wasn't anticipating. And I will be going back. We will be going back. But yeah, if you guys have any questions for us, any comments, I do have a video. I'm going to be pumping out more content of our trip. We did do a video space live at the scene at the end of the border wall, where we did encounter a group of apparently trafficked migrants. One of the very last things we did in our space, we were in a live video space using Starlink, a portable Starlink for data. Pretty wild to be able to do that and bring thousands of people along with us on our journey. So we will be doing more of that. If you guys have any questions, the project that is supporting my endeavors in this is MAGA on ETH. So, this isn't financial advice, but if you want to support a project that is actually going out here and making real change occur and actually putting boots on the ground, I think, as far as I know, we are the only ones doing this. So make sure that if you are into crypto, you are supporting us. Let's go to Jen, and then we'll go to the hands.
Yeah, Anthony, I know. So, all right. I know we want to get the border story out, right? But I also just want to stress to the audience, please do not get in your car and drive to the border yourself unarmed and without somebody with knowledge of what's going on down there. And I just want Anthony to take a minute, and if you could just explain to the audience maybe how dangerous it actually is, because we saw you guys out there, right?
He's preoccupied for a few minutes, Jen.
Well,
let's come back to him.
we
go
can
ahead,
go back to it. but if you guys could just explain, because you guys like made it look easy, right? And I just want people to know like how dangerous of a situation the border actually is, and that you can't just go down there like freaking like, I don't even know, like willy-nilly.
Absolutely not. We were followed from the minute that we hit the road, the highway near to where the hot spots were. There was spotters parked off on the side of the road. You could see that they had CB antennas on their shitty vehicles. They were eyeball fucking the shit out of us, and then they would make a call or get on the radio, and then they would drive off. So we were followed the entire time that we were out there, even as we were leaving, which was really sketchy. I'm really glad I was in a rental vehicle. I would hate to be out there in any kind of like they'll put trackers on your car, and they won't try to get you while you're out there. They'll come to you while you're at home, right? So definitely be mindful. I wouldn't go out there without an expert at all. Don't, just because we went out there to cover it doesn't mean that everybody needs to go out there. If you do go out there, just make sure that you're very prepared. We had people who were armed. We had people who were body armor. We had people who were knowledgeable and experienced in this. Anthony, I don't know if you got a hot mic. And so we didn't just go out there blindly, right? They have implements. If you look at the video I have in the Jumbotron, they have spikes. They look like jacks, the ball where you play the jacks and the jacks spin up. They have spikes that they've created, about fist-sized spikes that they throw down, and regardless of how they throw them down, they always land with the spike up, and they will puncture your tire, right? And they're big spikes. So those are meant to disable you, and you are out there in a remote area where it is hard to navigate the hills and mountains in a vehicle. These are 2 tracks, dirt roads. A lot of them have ruts where they've been washed out, right? Like, I wouldn't go out there with any type of vehicle other than a big 4-wheel drive Jeep or a 4-wheel drive off-terrain vehicle like we had. There's just no way you would have been able to navigate it. So if you can just imagine, if you are an outfit out there and your tires get shredded, now you are sitting out there with the worst types of humanity, and you are at their mercy. You are a sitting duck where they control the area around you. And there is, like, as Anthony said earlier, we only saw a couple of Border Patrol in the 17 hours that we were out there the second day. We only saw Border Patrol once, right? 17 hours, we only saw them once, and we were on the border the entire time. So just imagine the response time if you needed help out there, right? It is dangerous as fuck. These people are not fucking around. We had pissed them off. I know for a fact. We had some people trying to throw some intimidation tactics at us, even using social media, going off my space. There are leftist organizations and activists who are actively working with the NGOs and cartels to come after reporters or journalists or independent media who are putting this stuff on X. So there's a lot of reasons why you need to be careful if you're going to head out there. The danger cannot be understated.
Thanks, Diligent. Yeah, I just want people to realize that, right? Because yes, do we want everybody out at the border and recording? Yeah, but like, these people are not fucking around. Like, they will kill you, and you will be buried in the desert, never to be seen or heard from again. It's not a joke.
And to piggyback off that real quick, Jen, you're absolutely correct. They actually, in these last 2 weeks, there is a citizen out there, kind-hearted individual who has he's a little slow, but he's a very very nice guy down there. Everybody knows him, and he was assaulted, beat like a pulp about 2 weeks ago by a group of migrants that were trying to cross the border. He was actually trying to record them, and they were upset that he was out there recording them, and they started throwing rocks at him. He started throwing rocks back. They actually had scouts jump up and over the border, and they started beating him up and they were able to run back up and over the border. They are not playing around. They will assault you. They will rob you. And I mean, he didn't have much for them to take, but they did assault him, and he had to go to the hospital. But that's a local that lives out there. This guy at some point has even helped migrants, given them water and passed out snacks and whatnot. It's a very liberal little county, and no one is off limits to these people, pretty much, guys.
All right, let's go. Thank you, Anthony. Let's go to Sally, and I want to get into how weird that little NGO compound was that we went to. There's so many things that need to be explored and shown what's going on there. There's liberal compounds that live adjacent to the border, just across the highway, where these migrants and some of the other weird ones, the bad ones, are crossing. And they are strategically placing water and facilitating their movements through empty trailers and RVs, strategically placed just a few, a mile away from the border wall and the mountains where these people are crossing. It's pretty kind of sophisticated network. I'm going to post a video tomorrow that kind of shows all of that. But yeah, let's go to Sally. Go ahead, Sally.
I'm not sure if you guys talked about this part yet today. I think I joined right when you started. But HHS last year gave $5 billion to these NGOs to help facilitate these children going to gang members, going to organs, whatever, you name it. But our government is facilitating it. And HHS does not have arrest authority. They can't do background checks. They have zero oversight. They are intentionally allowing these children to go to these people, and we need to, I don't know how to hold these people accountable other than bringing it to light. And when you guys are talking about Catholics, it's not just Catholics. Take in the Mormons, take in every corrupt church, because they're all corruptible, because man corrupts everything, and get to them as well. Bring attention to this as much as you can. And I try not to cry, because this is the saddest stuff to me, but I just want to thank you guys for your amazing work. I was on the edge of my seat the whole time that I watched it. It was kind of intense at times. And also, if anyone has names of different NGO groups, DM me, because I do have time. I can research, and I have people that can help me research. So do some back channels of who's funding them and whatnot. So anyway, thank you, Diligent.
Thank you, Sally. Let's go to Miss Me Answers. Go ahead, and then we'll go to Pools after that.
Hi, thanks for having me up. And
I can't hear her. Can you guys hear her?
Can you hear me? No.
Can anybody hear me?
Oh, I can hear Diligent, but maybe you can't hear.
Yeah, I can hear her.
Yes, I can hear you.
Oh, I can't hear her. I'm going to drop you and bring you back down to Answers, because I can't hear what you're saying. Just request. I'll bring you right back up. Let's go to Pools while we're waiting. Go ahead, Pools.
Good evening, Patriots. I wanted to share a little story with you guys. I'm in Louisiana, which we've been dealing with for many years, obviously, just like Texas and all the border states, even though we're not a border. But recently I had a buddy of mine that asked me to go help him finish a shed for a church couple, one of their church people. And I'm there and I'm meeting them, and it's nice, a little suburban neighborhood. But I'm kind of wondering, like, where do they get the money for this? None of my business. We get the job done. They wanted me to come back and do some more work. I did. They had a brand new RV in the back. I'm like, man, they got some money coming in. That's good. And turns out I'm there, and this guy comes out of the RV, and I asked about it because it looked Middle Eastern, but they said no, he's a Venezuelan migrant. And come to find out, I started digging, because they got a brand new RV and they don't have nothing but 2 little cars. How are they going to pull that? And now I'm really starting to wonder. So I asked around. Turns out they're in one of those non-denomination churches, but their church is paying for everything. They brought the guys there. They set up everything there. They built the shed for him to have storage, and they're doing it with anybody in their congregation that'll do it. So this is non-denomination. It's not Catholics. And I'm so glad y'all brought it up. I just want to share that with you. This has been happening for a very long time. And this is a suburban neighborhood. They might be right next door to you guys. You don't even know it. You talking about how bad they are. Well, I mean, this guy didn't speak English. I don't know if he's bad or not. So I'm starting to talk to people about it and getting some people involved. But this is only a couple weeks ago, so I don't have all the information yet.
So Pools, I mean, just to be fair, right? Like, it's not that we're targeting Catholics. right? But if you go down to the border, yes, there might be other religious organizations there, but the vast majority and the most prevalent group that's there assisting the migrants that have been doing this. I mean, since before we even built the wall, right? We knew about the Catholic Charities problem and we tried to expose it, right? Like they are playing such an essential role. So it's not like we're targeting the Catholic Church here, but like
Jen, not even all. And let me just add to that real quick. Is not all of them are actually Catholic Church organizations. They're organizations that are adopting the facade of being a Catholic Church organization. So some of these organizations have been infiltrated by left-wing activists who are going under the guise of being a Catholic organization. However, some of the larger scale organizations, these Catholic organizations as well, are involved with this at scale, like the funding for the migrants all the way from South America. This has been well documented. Check Laura Loomer's work. Some of these larger scale Catholic organizations are involved, as well as other ones, right? It's kind of crazy because when I was posting about this earlier and yesterday, people were replying, it's the Jews, it's the Jews. But what I have seen evidence of is that it's everybody. I have seen evidence that the Islamic whatever cooperation, like their organization is,
care.
Yeah, whatever. But my point is that I have seen evidence that the Islamic organizations are involved. The Jewish organizations, there are Jewish, not all of them, are involved. Catholic organizations are involved. I've seen Anthony post videos of Christian organizations, NGOs that have been involved. And it seems like everybody has a vested interest in what's happening here, or a lot of these organizations have been infiltrated by activists, which I'm guessing, if I had to guess, that's probably what it was. What I've noticed is that these far left activists are very good at infiltrating infrastructure all the way through NGOs into our commercial infrastructure. That is why you see a lot of wokeness and DEI policies throughout corporate America, because the left has been very good at infiltrating and kind of hijacking all of these other pre-existing organizations so that they can do their bidding. Go ahead, Jen.
Yeah, I would say the infiltration is coming from the United Nations, right? And I think that, Anthony, if you can explain to the audience a little bit about the migrant pact and the role the United Nations is playing down at the border.
Yeah, absolutely. The UNICEF is definitely involved in that, and it's definitely the United Nations. We have come across instances where people from Africa coming into our country, asking us where they sign up to get the refill for their debit card, because every 2 weeks they were depositing X amount of money into their debit card so that they can continue moving through the countries getting into the U.S. And it was when they arrived here to the U.S., they cut that off, and it was a big ordeal for them because they had to go through a different pathway to then start receiving these funds. Basically, check in here. They were tracking their debit cards as they were moving, and once they arrived down to the southern border, that was pretty much it. And then they have to find the different pathways set up for them to continue receiving this money. But basically, it's us funding through our tax dollars the United Nations, and the United Nations then turns around and distributes our wealth or our taxes to all of these people and assisting them in getting into the United States. Now, there are multiple NGOs out in the Darien Gap. I know that there are multiple NGOs out there in Guatemala. One of the places that I was fortunate enough to visit when the whole caravan phenomenon was really kicking off once President Trump took office. In that area, all religions are there, all of them. And it's just like Diligent said, it's not so much, I feel, the religion itself. It is globalists that are flying the flag of their one religion to cloak what they're really doing and be able to garnish support from their church members and continue in the destabilization of America, because ultimately that's what it is. And same thing with the Democrats. They fly their communists flying under the Democrat flag. The Democrat Party has also been hijacked, as much all these religions as well. So that's something we got to watch out for. And no doubt everybody has a small part in the...
These NGOs are fucking vicious, man. They have been following and stalking Anthony for the last couple of weeks, attempting to shred his tires, taking his photos, posting it online, trying to dox his location. They actually did that with myself and Nick Sorter. I didn't know until Anthony, showed me that they have trail cams out there. They are actively doing counter surveillance against people who are trying to shed light on this. And then they're also trying to file false police reports saying that we're harassing migrants. When we did that space, as a matter of fact, one of the crazy ones tried to say that we were harassing those migrants, even though, we are live on video, obviously giving them water and, keeping them safe until Border Patrol could come get them. But these are crazy ideologues who don't want you exposing what they're doing, and they will violently react to you if you are out there unprotected, or if you are not watching what you're doing. Because I saw them myself. We ran into one at one of the ports of entry. He got triggered as soon as he saw we had the cameras out. These people are nuts. Go ahead, Penny. Welcome, man.
Yo, man, I'm at a restaurant and my burrito just got delivered. So I'm going to pop in for just a second and say, I mean, everything Diligent and team is sharing is true. I was there. I got it all on video. I think there's like 90,000 impressions on the video that I posted about our trip because it's so shocking. Like, I've never had so many people share what I posted, and send me DMs and everything else. Like, it really changes the way that you view the situation. I think a lot of people hear border news and they're like, oh, like it's probably being blown out of proportion. It's probably political or whatever. But I can tell you from firsthand, it's real and it's horrible. And like, there's something really chilling when you realize that all of the clothes that we're finding are from women and children. And it's like, why is that exactly? Well, I'll leave that to you. To try to put two and two together there, but it's disgusting, right? And we can't put up with this, and more people need to know about it. It's really important. So despite the dangers, I think I'm going back again soon to shed even more light on the issue. Especially leading up to the elections is just incredibly important. So thanks for everyone putting in the work. Anthony is the best guide ever. If you're not already following Anthony, like, you definitely need to. Everyone needs to see what he's posting.
100%. Thanks, Penny. And Penny was a soldier out there with us in the middle of the night, in the worst place to be along the U.S.-Mexico border. So shout out to his bravery for going with us, man. That was quite the experience. Go ahead, Jen. And then, Jen, if you can take over the hands for a second, I'm going to try to get some more people in here.
Yeah, guys, I just want to say that's why I was kind of handling the room like I did. I know everybody wanted to ask questions of the migrants, right? And tell them not to vote for Kamala Harris and all that. But what you don't realize is, yes, we are a group of friends right here, but there are people in the audience who are listening, who are recording, right? Who will then turn and use that against people like Anthony and Diligent and try to stop them from going out there and doing the good work, right? So yes, do we all want to get to the migrants and tell them oh my God, don't do this, they're tricking you, yeah? But we can't do that because if we start looking like we're harassing people or exploiting people, right? Those blue-haired goofballs in those NGOs will report you and try to make us stink, right? Ask me how I know, right? So we just have to be mindful of how we approach this situation. That's all I'm saying. All right, oh, go ahead. Who wanted to speak?
Hey, can I just hit it with breaking news? Not really on the topic, but I think important to the group.
Go ahead, Doc.
Two things. One is Brazil has rescinded the order that anyone using a VPN to get on X would be billed $9,000 a day. So they're backing off, and Elon again has faced down a government over a free speech suppression. Thank you. And the second piece of breaking news is Mike Johnson, our Speaker of the House, our conservative Republican Speaker of the House, has decided to attach the SAVE Act to the current spending bill. So the SAVE Act ensures that, well, I'll let the host talk about it, or if you don't know about it, go ahead and Google it and check it out.
Well, it's relevant actually because it's about securing our elections from foreigners voting in it. What it does is it federally prohibits any non-citizen vote from being counted towards our general election or any of our federal elections for that matter. And I had suggested months ago, I actually ran a little bit of a campaign calling out Mike Johnson. I was replying to him saying that they needed to attach that bill to the next spending bill and force the shutdown. Republicans needed to put their money where their mouth was. Who cares if they shut down? That is the most important piece of legislation that we can have passed between now and the election. We have to secure our elections to make sure that it is a fair win when Donald Trump gets handed, the 47th presidency. So that is great news. We'll see what they do. I don't necessarily trust Mike Johnson or the Republicans. They have let me down time and time again. We'll see if they hold their ground. They usually, I've noticed that they do this kind of grandstanding and then they make backroom deals, right? So I will, before I celebrate, I will see what comes of it. But if we face a shutdown, the Democrats are going to have to explain their position in front of the entire world of why they want to let foreigners vote in our elections. And I think that's probably not going to go over real well with moderates or independents during an election cycle.
I am disgusted by the blatant transphobia. The man has no Johnson, and we should respect that. His name is Speaker Hunt. Speaker Mike Hunt. Just so you guys know, just like, can we just like be inclusive here? It's crypto space, bro.
Mike Hunt, paging Mike Hunt.
True story. I mean, the man has no Johnson, and so I am not holding my breath. I also, this is one of those things. Like, is it really like? Are we really at a place where like they're going to listen to anything that the Congress says on this particular issue? And the thing that I find most interesting about Diligent and Penny going to the border is it's so illuminating when you actually go see it for yourself. And the reason it's so illuminating is that you realize that we don't have a border. And in a lot of ways, you have to go see it for yourself to really like comprehend that statement. That's not hyperbole. That these $1 trillion international crime organizations run shit on both sides of the border. And it's the frustrating part is that this is an issue that has been a political football for 3 generations. And that you could go back and you could find videos when it was the Democrats who were pro-border security. I'm talking Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi. And then they just switched it. All of a sudden, Democrats were the open border people. And right, the Republicans supported it because they used to oppose border security because they wanted the cheap labor. And the end result is what we're dealing with on the border now, which is they've used this as one of those divisive political football issues. They've allocated trillions of dollars to fix the problem and never done anything to solve it because they want it as an issue. and both sides have maybe have different motivations, but the end result is the same. So it's truly just, it's harrowing to see it, and I can't help but like remember the first time that I went to the border, and I had a guy like Anthony like show me some of the spots, because and it's not just California. There's nowhere on the border, New Mexico or Texas, or Arizona, you can find these hot spots everywhere. And the unfortunate thing is, like, Anthony, how long have you been doing this grind? At least a decade, right?
Yes, sir.
And in over a decade, you filmed thousands of encounters, probably close to 10, right? Got to be around 10,000 illegal encounters, like criminal acts happening. And the before X, we couldn't get the word out. They literally just stomped out our ability to share the message and make people see what was actually happening. And now we're in this situation where the country, because it used to be the comfortable talking point was like, oh, well, we'll secure the border and then we'll like deal with the people who are already here. That was like the standard Republican talking, the Mitt Romney Republican talking point. The issue is no one but Trump is talking about the brutal fact that we need to deport people. It's a matter of survival that we actually have to send people back. And there's literally no one else talking about it.
bottles.
In my entire political career, it's always soft-toeing around and trying to pander and this other bullshit. But at the end of the day, everybody knows, most especially the migrants, like the legal migrants, even some of the illegal migrants, they understand better than anybody the kind of criminals and thugs and gangsters that are flooding into our country. And that something needs to happen about it. Like even a lot of the illegals. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, the fear was apparent on their face. You know, when we got that group of 21 migrants, and you guys can see this. This isn't, again, to Dustin's point, this isn't hyperbole. You can go to my spaces and my highlights, go to the border video space with migrants, go about 2 hours in, right? About 2 hours and 20 minutes. I would say 2 to 2.5 hours in is when we encountered the migrants, and we questioned them with the camera on their face. You know, how they got there, who facilitated it, who told you where to go, how did you know where to go once you got to the inside of the United States? We were questioning them. We were interrogating them for answers, and we interviewed them. Interrogate sounds a little too mean, I guess, but whatever. They would answer some questions, but when it came to who told you, how did you get here, who facilitated it, who gave you instructions, who gave you the map, who told you where to go, it was nothing. You could tell they were scared, especially the men, right? You could tell the fear is apparent on the men's faces as we were asking questions. It is completely apparent, right? These people have been threatened. You know, if you talk, we come get you. If you talk, we'll come get you. Like, and anybody who knows about how the cartel operates, it is through terror like that. These are terrorist organizations. And so, you know, these, even the migrants know. Even the migrants know that these aren't people you want to fuck with, and they act accordingly. Go ahead.
Yeah, Dilly, I just want to say, and it's not even like the cartel will just get them, right? Because remember, a lot of this is being facilitated in Central American countries, and they know right where their families are, right? And they told them, like, you talk, you like open your mouth, we will go and kill your family, right? So it's not just like their own personal safety, right? It's the safety of their family members that they're also taking into consideration.
Well, and I'm going to take just a quick reset, then we'll hit the hands. Go ahead, Anthony.
I just want to say there's times when we witness 16, 17-year-old girls, or even the 18, 19-year-old, the younger ones. There are currently U.S. NGOs, and I have it firsthand from an attorney down there in Venezuela who is trying to shed light on all of this. These NGOs are actually recruiting young women and even young single women with kids, single mothers with young kids. They will be out at the supermarkets, at the malls. And once they get a hold of their information at these malls or at these supermarkets, they go as far as courting their family, and they go down to their house and they tell them, look, we have an opportunity. We're going to pay for her to go to the U.S. and yada, yada, yada. Only to have these girls be put into actual sex work. Like, this is not hyperbole. This isn't like, oh, it's a conspiracy. No, these young ladies are being brought into a black market, into a sex market, into an underground sex market. And more often than not, a lot of the times some of these women get processed by Border Patrol and DHS, and then they get released into the country, but they can't and won't speak on that, because once they are here, they are threatened, and they know that these people have already been to their house, they know their family, and so they comply without any pushback or any trying to seek out for help to the authorities. They will pay back whatever X amount through sex work that is required by these nefarious organizations, which are NGOs tied with these cartel groups, or like they like to call themselves, they like to call themselves travel agents. That is a term that is being coined on WhatsApp and on Facebook, and that's how they're recruiting these folks. Nonetheless, they have to pay back X amount of dollars, sometimes $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 per person that they bring over here through sex work.
The worst kind of indentured servitude. Anyway,
Can I say something, because I have to go to work? I'm David Arteaga. I want to say thank you to all of you, because everybody over here, I'm a refugee. I'm coming from Cuba, and you guys, you are right 100%. I'm coming from Cuba. I'm running for the communists. I love this land. This is the last freedom country in the world. We had to fight it. That's why I say thank you to God to come in here and see the people like you fighting for your country. I'm really proud to be part of this. In my position, I want to explain to you that nothing happened because it's about politician. The politician that we have on the right now, the administration we have, it sucks. They're gonna give money to the enemy of the United States. That's why you see the people crossing the border. This is not gonna stop, because we have a lot of dictators in Latin America. And you know what? Biden's thinking, if they giving the money to that people, they people not gonna do nothing to suffering the country they stay in charge. I'm sorry for my English, but I want to say thank you to all of you, and God bless you.
No, thank you, David, and appreciate you. It's always helpful to hear the people who have experienced, right, what they're trying to import here. And it's funny because we got the Brazil news, but there's just, you get this feeling from American politicians that they are jealous of the kind of authoritarianism that is being displayed in other parts of the world. In France, in the UK, in Brazil, in Venezuela, and so many other countries, Australia, New Zealand. They wish that they could have that kind of centralized power and control.
But thankfully, like this is our last best hope. And I truly believe this is part of a plot to take that away. They know this is the final frontier, the final battlefield. And they know they can't win legitimately. So what do? They try and are trying to manipulate the system through mass migration. And we're in deep shit.
100%. Cuban, Russian, China, Venezuela, all of these countries, man, they do. When they want something to the administration of the United States, whatever government, Republican or Democrat, but right now we have the worst administration in the whole time in United States. But for long, I think this is the record Guinness from Biden. I never see something like that in 20 years. Kept being here in the United States, and you guys, whatever, it's 100% what you're telling in here. This happening, and the people don't know how hard it is to that people running from their country and cross the border. It's a lot of people dying, suffering, bivouacking, like the other guy telling about the woman that's happening in the United States right now. They have the woman coming to here, and they have to pay back to that mafia. And it's really, really bad what happened in our country, because I love United States with all my body, man. You guys amazing, man. This is the best place in the world.
Well, thank you, David.
By the way, are you a citizen?
Why does that matter?
It does matter, because if you've tried to actually become a citizen, you know how much this American, how amazing the country is. And then when you become a citizen, you don't want any other country. Like, you're talking about Russia, like every system in the world. The systems you're talking about, they all suck. America is the best country in the fucking world.
Without a doubt. And the thing I'll say is this: it won't be if we don't fight to keep it and we don't get this under control. So it is not. There's not some magic like silver bullet that allows America to remain free and allows this to be the greatest country to pursue your dreams and opportunities. Requires constant vigilance and participation, and we are right on the brink. And if there's anything that the border tells us, if you don't have a border, you don't have a country. And if you have a social welfare program and the quote unquote social safety nets and open migration, it is not economically feasible or viable. It's impossible.
If we don't have a border, right? So I give you that. If we don't have a border, you don't have a country. Then why did the Senate kill the border bill? Why?
Because they're a bunch of evil fucks. Because they profit off of the border is the constant big dig. Now here's what I mean by that. They've spent and allocated. I added this up as like part of the wall stuff to build Trump's prototype. The amount of money that's been allocated directly for border barriers, close to $1 trillion over the last 30 years. And yet it's almost completely garbage outside of like the stuff that Trump built. It's something where there'll be a barrier and then you just walk a mile and then there's no barrier and you could just walk over.
How many kickbacks and other frivolous spending went along with it too, right? How much of that money did they absorb back into their coffers somehow? That's always the play.
Almost all of it. Almost all of it, right? And that's the point. Which is, and that's the point I was making about it being a political football, that both quote unquote teams have played offense and defense on. So, right, you could go look it up. Go look up Nancy Pelosi border security, and you will find clips of Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer and all the like most rabid, crazy Democrats being pro border security, and the Republicans being the ones fighting back. And then they switch, and they do it on purpose because it's an issue that allows them to feed their cronies, which is it's always more money and it's always ineffective, and they want this issue to remain. Make no mistake. Go ahead, Jen.
Well, Dust, I think one thing that we've often talked about, right, is the process of getting and putting bids in for the government and getting those government contracts, right? And in a lot of ways, I would argue that that is one giant money laundering operation for the elites in the government. And Edward, I think you're referring to the erroneous, ridiculous border bill that the Democrats put up 6 or 8 weeks ago. And honestly, they could take that bill, turn it sideways and shove it up their ass, because that bill was so disingenuous, and the pork and the fat and the spending that was in that bill did not solve the problem. So if y'all want to just like put up a bill and be like, oh, you have to fix the border, but you have to do it our way with this bill, like shove it up your ass. We don't want it.
The border bill was brought up by an Oklahoman. It was Republican
by an elite, by a globalist. Okay, so if you're gonna sit here and argue a border bill with me,
but it was
like,
gonna fix. It was going to fix a lot of problems.
It was disgusting. It was filled with more.
So any America first. Let me I can end this real quick, Edward, because you may not understand, because are you an American first of all?
Yeah, I'm American.
You're an American?
I was born in Zambia, but I'm American. Yeah.
Oh, so you're an American citizen?
100%. Yeah.
Okay, so MAGA or America First, at least of conservatives, I'm not going to say Republican. So this is something that Dustin was highlighting. I think that you're missing, right? Is Senator Langford is actually my senator, right? I actually voted for him in the 2022 election, right? Because I didn't have any other choices, and I didn't anticipate that legislation being written and put forth by him, right? That really kind of showed his colors after the amount of disgust I had with him after I saw that legislation it's hard for me to even describe. But it involved mass amnesty, right? There is no America First patriot that is in favor of mass amnesty. It actually creates more problems than it solves, because it doesn't address the problem of don't interrupt me, bro. Don't interrupt me. Mute your mic. So it actually creates more problems than it addresses, because it doesn't address all of the migrants, the 30 million, right? Let's just call it what it is. 30 million people who have come into the country underneath the Biden administration who are unaccounted for, right? The ones who are not counted altogether, that's the gotaways. That's the ones they've released. Everybody that's here right now, right? And the tide has not stemmed. It has just moved. It's not coming in through Texas. It's coming in through Arizona and California, where the Democrats still have power. But my point is not only did it grant mass amnesty, which no American should support because we can't afford it. Like 30 million people adopted into the system breaks the system. Any economist or any strategist can tell you that. Like it doesn't really take a genius to know that. My high school level age kid knows that you can't absorb 30 million people into a debt-based economy when the debt is outpacing the GDP, right? So, and not only that, the medical infrastructure and the education infrastructure as well. But not only that, it also allowed for a $5,000 a day amnesty going forward. 5,000 times 365. I want you to do the math on that. That is an automatic sign off on a huge amount of people into our country after they've already let an insurmountable amount of people into our country. That legislation was trash, and it was treason against the American people.
It actually solves the amnesty problem. Because
wait, do you benefit? Hold on, I have a question for you, Edward. Do you benefit? Hold on, no. Oh, now you're gonna make me mute you, little Edward. All right, listen. I want to know: do you benefit by the United States declaring amnesty? That's what I want to know.
That law was written in 1930.
You benefit from the United States declaring amnesty, Edward, from Zambia.
But I'm already American though. So
yeah, but what about your family?
Are you agree? Do you have a green
What about
card?
your family? Or
no,
what about your
I
close
have
family?
a passport. I'm an American citizen. So I
yeah, but what about your close family? Are your close family all citizens too?
No,
yeah,
but
okay.
I'm American.
Exactly. It benefits you. It benefits you for us to grant mass amnesty, but
I get them too. So you and me are the same. Like we are the same now.
No, we're not the same.
Except for that you support, except for you support pro-globalist legislation, and I do not.
Okay.
Honestly, we need to stop all migration, legal and illegal. It needs to be cut off for a couple of years because the United States is very much.
Anthony, what the fuck are you talking about? The Europeans conquered this land.
Listen, you little anti-American fuck.
This is and did you hear him? This is a woke ideologue. You hang out, bro. Hang out. I'm not gonna let you derail the space. Let's go to Anon. He's been waiting patiently. Go ahead, Anon.
Yeah, so there's a lot of comedy going around lately, and I fucking love it. It's just nothing but humor at this point because it just doesn't work. It just doesn't work anymore. It's fucking hilarious. And let me make it clear, this is fucking America. You know what that means? And we know who our enemies are. Now I'm gonna sound very stupid if that's what you think Americans are. I know who the enemies are. The cartel, China, and some African countries. You guys can all go to fucking hell.
Okay. Thanks for that, Anon. Let's go to Aaron. Welcome to the stage, Aaron.
Hi. Most things Edward said is not true, especially when it comes to immigration itself. And I'm saying that as a guy that worked for USCIS. The fraud rate is pretty insane. So the things he's proposing, like, you got to be able to talk very intelligently to him because he's going to lie to you really, really quickly.
I'm sorry, you're saying that I wasn't speaking intelligently? I'm not sure.
No, diligent, okay? Like what Edward was doing, right? It's convoluted talk, right? He's proposing all of these things, making it sound glorious, like it's okay for us, but it's not. And he is pushing a narrative and
yeah, it's mixed messaging.
Yes.
Yeah, I understand the tactic, but it doesn't. I mean, obviously, no one on stage, at least, was biting, and you know that's because he has a globalist mentality. You know, he came here from another country. Apparently, he says he's a citizen, but you got to remember that
I am a citizen.
And I didn't say you weren't, sir. Did I? Did I? Okay. So, anyways. But also, you know, like as I said, I asked them, you know, do you have close family who aren't U.S. citizens? And the answer was yes. So obviously, it would benefit him, and I imagine a good number of people in our country, if we did grant mass amnesty out like that, right? That solves the problem. No, it doesn't solve the problem. All it does is legalize an already existing problem that is, as of right now, unconstitutional and illegal, right? That is what that legislation did. That is the lie that the Democrats and some Republicans, don't get it twisted, like he said, he is absolutely right. Senator Langford, along with a number of other prominent Republicans, pushed that legislation forward. Even some of my favorite Republicans. Who's the one? Not Lindsey Graham. Kennedy. Senator Kennedy even signed off on that as a co-sponsor. And I can tell you, I was appalled and very dismayed when I saw the number of Republicans getting behind that bill, right? That is a huge problem for us, because obviously there is enough power within the uniparty to even get the most staunch conservatives to bend to their whim when it comes to this type of legislation. And don't get it twisted. This is the most impactful issue for our country, besides maybe the emergence of artificial intelligence, which is a whole nother.
That's what I was gonna.
Hold on, bro. I'm not done talking. Don't interrupt the host. Which is a whole nother conversation. But the immigration issue, right? It is life or death for our country. We could not absorb these people. And not only that, the Democrats are using it to change the very layout of our voter block. They're using it to gain more House seats. You think that sending them to their own cities is a good thing? It's not. It's giving those districts more people and therefore more votes to use in our House. So their long-term plan, which at this scale and rate isn't going to be that long-term, is to completely replace the voter block demographic, not the race demographic, but the voter block demographic of this country, so that they can be a super majority, one-party state in perpetuity. We have to stop this. We cannot allow any legislation like that to be passed. There is no mass amnesty. There is no amnesty of any kind that is acceptable. We have to yell, scream, protest, do whatever we can to prevent that. We need to call out our own party, our own Republican senators, our own Republican House members who support this type of legislation. And then we actually have to get on the ground and show the American people what's happening so that they will do the same. Go ahead, Jen, and then the floor is yours. Sorry. Is anybody there?
I'm good, Diligent. Just go ahead to the hands.
Okay, go ahead, Southern, and then we'll go to Aaron.
Okay, I apologize for my voice. I've been sick. I just wanted to say on that bill that Langford and Kennedy worked on, most of the money in there was for lawyers to fast track citizenship. That was the real point that they wanted. Biden could have shut down the border any day. He could do it yesterday if he wanted to. The other thing is, with illegal immigrants coming in, we have our census. They're going to be starting in 2028. That's going to allow federal funds to go into the states to support that headcount of the illegal immigrants. That's why Newsom wants them in California, because he's got a mass migration coming out of California. And this is a pliable group of people for him. They will capitulate to all the rules and all the craziness in California. And you need to look at California, because that's what the future looks like if we do not put a boundary and say no and shut it down. The other thing is, we're seeing billions of dollars leaving our country right now that are being given to the illegal immigrants. They're sending to their families, which is wonderful, compassion and all that. But that money's not being put back into this economy, which we need. And for the past 9 months, the illegal immigrants have been taking all the new jobs. And that was intentional. Larry Fink is a big proponent behind it. He's admitted it because he did not like the union deals. He wants the migrants where they can massage the payrolls to improve bottom line. They see the illegal immigrants doing that. California now says they're going to give $125,000 to illegal immigrants for a home. Well, that is the biggest come on that'll never happen. First of all, they'd have to have a real job with real income and some type of credit history, because we got $2 trillion in mortgages that are wobbling right now into foreclosures or slow pays. So we may have a real problem. And when you add that $125,000 in California for housing, that's all it's going to do is ratchet up the house pricing. And look at how expensive California already is. And now Kamala says she's going to do $25,000, which is a joke. Banks require a lot more down if you're a first-time home buyer. So these legal immigrants are getting all these promises that are never going to happen. But my concern is I don't see anything done for the vets or the poor in our areas. Those funds are being moved over into the legal immigrants. We already saw in the Inflation Reduction Act where I care in Medicare, because I'm in medical, they have removed all that money.
Southern. All right. If you just.
I'm landing.
Well, I mean, just you know, you always. If I can just offer some a suggestion, because you actually are very articulate. You sound good, and you bring a lot to the table information wise. If you can just break it up so that the listeners have time to digest it.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean?
Sorry.
No, you're good. I love having you up here, but it's just you cover so much information in a short period of time. You know what I mean? Like.
Sure, I understand.
So I want to talk. I actually forgot which. The Gavin Newsom thing, the money for the migrants. We talked a lot about that on our trip actually, because it's present on a lot of people's mind. Is these migrants. There is a piece of paper that I found. I'm going to post some of this tomorrow on our trip. We found a bunch of instructions. I found a paper that said "Welcome to America" or "Welcome to the United States," big bold letters in Spanish. Actually, I found them in many different languages in Spanish, and then it had details and instructions on what to do, what to expect when they got across the border, how they should call for help. It informed them that their health care was going to be taken care of, that they were going to be provided with basic necessities, that they would be provided with transportation to San Diego, and from San Diego, they would be provided, if they didn't want to find a sponsor there, this is the NGO, the paperwork's words, not mine, if they didn't find a sponsor there, that they would get free airfare or train fare to wherever they wanted to go in the United States. This is the paperwork that's being handed on the other side, on the south side of the border. These promises, which I actually believe that California and the government is complicit in, along with the NGOs, and actually fulfilling these promises 100%. Go ahead, Southern.
Yes, the thing that excuse me, the thing I'm really concerned about is we have 325,000 children missing, and Tom Homan was interviewed today, and he's trying back channeling right now, hoping Trump wins, because this is like their biggest surge to go to the border to figure out where are all these kids. And there's some independent journalists, young kids running around to all these supposed addresses where these children were taken. They're empty lots. So they're just being dropped off. And people inside the government have tried to find them, and they've been told, do you want to keep your job? Then shut up. That's where we're at right now, Diligent. That terrifies me. It terrifies me, these children.
Well, this is the Tara Rodas stuff. He's not still up here. But Tara Rodas, who was in here on Spaces, she was actually, I believe, a Democrat, right? And she heard about all of these kids that were down at the border that needed to get reunited with their families. So she volunteered to go down to the border and try to help reunite these kids with their families. And when she got there, right, she really quickly realized that the Biden administration and the United States government is the middleman in a international child trafficking ring. And she became a whistleblower. And this is someone who was supportive of the administration until she got there and realized, like, wait, I'm not reuniting families. I'm handing innocent children over to the cartel, never to be seen or heard from again. Right? So, like, this isn't just like, oh, these crazy MAGA conservative people, trying to be mean to the Democrats. Like, nah, your people are going down to the border and seeing, oh shit, this is not what we have been told. This needs to get exposed because this is some sadistic shit. right? Like, this is what you need to realize. It is far past political for me.
Yeah, and just to land my plane on this, I noticed, ironically, Biden's planes are flying again. There's been over 400,000 more children brought into the country, young people. They seem to be focusing on young people, which is even more terrifying. But Trump had in place that rapid DNA testing, so all the children were tested and the accompanying adult or adults. Biden killed the program when he came in office. He kicked a lot of stuff to the curb. And even at who's running the border now, I can't remember his name. He speaks nicely about Biden, but you get him off with Dr. Phil on an interview, and he goes, "We don't know where these children are going. We don't know where they're going, and we know they're not going anywhere safe." And it's heartbreaking for me because these are innocents. These are innocent children, and I can't imagine the terror they live in. And they're never going to be right again. They're going to need so much help. So much help. But the United States now has become the biggest human trafficking organization. Jen, what do you think?
I mean, I absolutely agree, right? And we also have to realize, right? Like, us in America, right? We have grown up with indoor plumbing. We know how to, like, take care of ourselves in the most basic sense, right? Brush your teeth, wash your face, da 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 da. And this is not a hit on immigrants, so don't get up here and tell me I'm hating on immigrants. Go look at the facts. Okay. That's not the people that are coming here, right? Like, if you go and you look at the hotels that they've been put in, they're destroying the hotels because they don't know how to live like we do in America. They don't know what indoor plumbing is. They don't know that you can't stuff paper towels down the toilets. Right. And when they're getting here, they're getting thrown into our everyday, which is not what they're used to. And they're not getting any guidance on it either. Right. So this isn't just like, oh, you have some nice family from Nevada, like going to New York and they're migrants, they could just move into the house and everything will be okay. Right. Like, that's not what's happening here. And yes, does it sound mean? Does it sound? Yes. And I'm willing to sound like that, because it's the truth of the situation. And that's not something we take into consideration a lot of the times.
Absolutely. And just one more thing. I appreciate y'all being patient with my voice. I'm just starting to get it back. The SAVE Act. The SAVE Act is to require proof of citizenship in order to vote. It's now been attached to the spending bill. And the Democrats, if they don't pass it, we're going to have to shut down the government. And I'm willing to go there. But we got to make sure that our Republicans in Congress have some fortitude and gird their freaking loins. So I recommend you reach out to your congressperson and make it very clear to them, if they fall down on this, they will pay, because we will not vote them back in. And we have to be that way, because Johnson somehow gives in. And we cannot have that, because
he has no Johnson, Southern. He has no Johnson. His name is Mike Hunt. We go over this all the time. But Southern, I have a question. When is this vote? Do you know when the vote is going to come up where the government will shut down? Is it in like 1 week?
I don't know, but I will find out. I will find out. But also, Diligent, you were talking about the NGOs. Including Catholic Charities, everybody, Doctors Without Borders, they've all been involved. And they're doing it quietly. But to come through the Darien Gap to get into Panama is where they're getting health care, clothing, food, they're well taken care of. And then they're set up to come to Mexico. And then they obviously have to pay the cartels to get through Mexico, which the cartels have made. I think they're at $750 billion now.
Southern, this is also something that I asked Anthony the other night in the space, that I don't know if people realize that, okay, once they get to the Darien Gap, right? And they also fly into
dangerous
places. So like, okay, Southern, please mute up for a second, please. Okay. So in places like, I believe it's Ecuador, right? Chinese citizens do not need a visa to enter the country of Ecuador, right? So they are purposely sending people to countries that do not require visas for entry, getting them from that country up into the Darien Gap, right? Where they are given a pass. They are not allowed to stay in Mexico. Okay, if they have a pass, I think Anthony, I don't know, he's not here, but I think it's like a 30 to 60 day pass to make your journey from, you know, the border of Mexico to the border of America, right? Mexico is not allowing these people into their country. They don't want them in their country because they know the damage that is caused not only to infrastructure and everything. Go ahead, Diligent.
Well, I mean, actually, you would be surprised at the amount of passes these countries are giving migrants. We actually found, I have a stack of paperwork in my luggage. I haven't gone through any of it yet. I need to go through it probably over the next couple of days as I make content. But we found a stack of legal paperwork of these countries giving these migrants amnesty to pass through for 30 days, 60 days for some, as long as they keep moving, right? And that is the first one of the most notable ones I found, which was Ecuador, which is the beginning of the journey for a lot of these international, the ones who are coming from other hemispheres. They're coming in through Ecuador. That's China, the Africans, the Europeans, the Arabs, you know, all of those areas. They're all coming in through Ecuador. And then each of these countries that they pass through to get here are granting them paperwork so that they can continue to go through. And that includes Mexico, because they're all part of the International Compact for Migration, which is the globalist organization, globalist compact that they have signed, including the United States, to facilitate the flow of these migrants. So you would be surprised how much paperwork we found saying that they you're right, they don't want them in their country, but they don't want them waiting in their country either. So they give them a pass to move into ours, is what's happening, right? Because they know, right, that it's better for them to give them a pass to come into the United States rather than to wait in Mexico like they had to under Donald Trump's presidency.
Yeah, well, and like I just pointed out, Ecuador doesn't require visas for these people to fly into the country, right? So if you're wondering, like, oh, these people have to be screened at some point before they... No. They're not getting screened before you get here. And like Diligent's point out, like Anthony's pointed out, like I've pointed out, Dustin, Jeff, everybody, right? You will find hundreds. Ben Berkwam, he just had a post about 2 hours ago, right? You will find hundreds of IDs, like legit country IDs, passports, just discarded at the border. And you ask yourself, why the hell would you leave your passport? Why the hell would you leave your ID? Well, because they're assuming new identities when they get into United States, right? And the beauty of this situation, right? If you are a upstanding person, right, and you have the ability to cross through the door, you're going to do that. The people that usually, you know, are taking the back door, not doing it the legitimate way, those are the bad guys, the gangsters, the ones that are coming here to do U.S. citizens harm. And whether that is rob them, whether is that take over their homes, or whether is that to kill them, right? Because that is what's happening. And I really hope and pray that none of anybody in this room, anybody, like anyone, has to go through the pain and suffering that I've seen on the Angels families' faces of their young kid or their son, their daughter, their dad, their mom, right? That got murdered by somebody who shouldn't even be here in the first place and has been deported over the border multiple times and has been labeled a dangerous criminal. They're still here murdering innocent Americans.
I hate to interrupt you. Dustin, is Dustin there?
I'm
gonna I'm gonna have to go soon. I have to go get some supplies. I have to make some phone calls. I just want to say, what a great space, you guys. Amazing. It may not be ending. I don't know. I'm only gonna be gone for a minute. I have to charge my phone up and get ready. But I'm gonna come back. So I'm not gonna be able to continue to keep the conversation going right this second. But I think we should kind of keep it going. I don't know what you have going on, Dustin. Another thing is did you get my text message? Pretty important. And then shoot me back a text, let me know. And we just signed, I'll just say it right here. I'll let him say it officially, but we just signed on Anthony as a sponsor. We're going to sponsor Anthony for the next month. So MAGA is out here making power moves and supporting, America First, MAGA independent journalists and creators on this platform who are actually making a difference. Shout out to MAGA. If you guys want to support us, the pinned post is up in the Jumbotron. If you're into crypto, bet on ones that are doing shit. Let's go.
Yeah, with that said, I am going to shut it down. I'm dealing with some other stuff. Same time. MAGA Monday. This is the most bullish month imaginable. We are about to watch politics heat up in a way that is almost unimaginable, with the debate, with the sentencing, the things that we have like in the news that are coming. It's about to get intense. I can't even imagine the intensity level surrounding MAGA and political issues. Right? It starts in September and it's going to run until it runs. And so I hope you guys just, again, shout out to MAGA, supporting the reason we're having this conversation, the reason Diligent and Penny were able to go to the border, the reason that their content is now sponsored is because of projects, because of MAGA, and because these projects give us the opportunity to provide the funding necessary to get this shit done. And the great thing is, load up a bag and see what happens. I've been trying to tell you guys since like 20 million market cap. Now we're at 45 million. We are just like entering into like the heat of the cycle. And so I hope you guys will grab a bag. It allows us to continue to do things like sponsoring Diligent and Penny and now Anthony. We have some other like contributions that'll be coming up soon. Like I won't even dive into yet, but these projects mean something because we don't have to go like kiss donor ass to be able to go bring you the stories we want to bring you. That's the other thing. We get to do it in a way that is unfiltered because of decentralized projects like MAGA's generous and continued and regular sponsorship of all of us. So I hope you guys will seriously load up. I hope it'll be a blessing for you. Never invest anything you can't afford to lose. No, these are extremely volatile markets. I'm confident that it'll go well, but my crystal ball does not exist. Right? Like it's been broken for a long time, or I'd be quite a bit wealthier than I currently am, although I'm doing pretty good. So I would just throw out there, support MAGA, support, right? And by doing so, you're supporting Diligent, and you're supporting Penny, and you're supporting Anthony, and you're supporting me, and you're supporting America Mission, and you're supporting all of the things that we are doing. And we're not, by the way, that's not even an exhaustive list of all of the different projects, people in the movement that we are supporting and will continue to support. So load up a bag. And if you need help, reach out. You can reach out to me. I'll probably steer you to the Telegram where we have a bunch of great people on standby. We are the crypto army that President Trump asked for. We have built it. We are ready. And we are about to make a massive, critical impact in the election going forward. And then in the MAGA movement forever. So I hope you guys will, I hope you'll load up and get involved with us. It's a lot of fun. And it is the literal epitome of being a happy warrior, which is we have a good time and we do stuff that matters. When you can find that magic combination in something, you know you're onto something special. All right, I will quickly let Sally, Rose, and Matt go, and then I'm going to shut it down.
Thank you, guys. So at the top of my profile, I have pinned a video with an interview with Aaron Stevenson, and Tara Rodas ended up joining. and he went through a lot of detail of how this trafficking ring works. If anyone's interested when you have downtime, you're not in a space, go check it out.
Yeah, all heroes. I'd add Carlos into that. Like we have this amazing group of whistleblowers, and Aaron Stevenson inspired it. Like, right? It's the little definition of courage begets courage. And Aaron Stevenson, the DHS whistleblower, inspired Tara and Carlos and a bunch of others to come forward. It's why we know how many missing children there are. And if you haven't seen Tara Rotis's testimony before Congress, it is chilling. But if you want to know where the 350 and the growing number, where that came from, it literally came from one courageous person blowing the whistle. And her name, right? Aaron Stevenson, Tara Rotis. And we've done several spaces. I'm lucky to consider all three of them friends, and like have offered support and platform to get that word out. But the reason we know is because people had courage from inside to blow the whistle. So definitely check out Sally's interview. Amazing heroes. Like word gets thrown around a lot of places it doesn't deserve. People like Aaron and people like Tara and people like Carlos are actual heroes for having the courage to shine a light on this stuff. Go ahead, Rose.
Happy Labor Day, all you hard workers out there for MAGA and getting President Trump elected. And I just, back to the conversation, I just wanted to point out the fact that, Governor Abbott isn't a saint either. And he is participating in a lot of this too, was my gut feeling. He allowed this to happen for 4 years. And my concern going forward, and you mentioned it, Dustin, is that, sending all of these people to blue cities is really going to affect the voting bloc. And it's going to really disrupt the whole representative landscape. So that's my big concern going forward. And I just pray for all the people that are out there, migrating up north, for the women and children, for their safety today. And I pray for this country. I really do. And we have a lot of, we're in the last stretch, right? 60 days. Let's go. Let's rock and roll.
Absolutely. All right, Matt, I'm going to give you the last word and then I'm going to shut it down.
Thank you, Dustin. Thanks for giving me a mic and giving me a chance to speak. Hello, Diligent and Jennifer. Listen, let's be clear about this. Amnesties are nothing more than a scam. All right. Reagan did one in 1986, and that was the last time California voted Republican in a presidential election in 1988. If you do another amnesty, you will turn Texas blue and impale any issue you care about as a MAGA person. Another thing on that point, they say George W. Bush did better than any other Republican with Hispanics, which is true. But what they don't tell you is he got 40% of the vote. And since 1984, Republicans have only gotten above 35% of the Hispanic vote twice. The other time being Reagan's 1984 re-elect. And another thing too, if you guys are interested in the trafficking issue, I've got an interview Friday night, an exclusive, in fact, with Allie Hopper and Jared Sadolsky, and they just got back from a trip to Belize. They're going to be sharing their findings with yours truly. So if you guys are interested in that, I hope you'll tune in Friday at 7 p.m. Eastern. Thank y'all.
Sounds good. We'll definitely look for that. You guys have a great day. MAGA Monday. Bullish MAGA September. Holy smokes. Like, MAGA is actually on a tear right now. It's just been literally flying up, and I expect it to continue to do so. Of course, we will have our corrections and other things, but it's going to be a crazy month. Like, I hope, buckle up, be ready, and continue to fight for the truth and for things that matter. And let's make America great again. Much love to all of you.
Good morning, fam. It's early and I look terrible, but deal with it. Today, I want to talk to you about Tony West. He is Kamala Harris's brother-in-law and the single-handedly most responsible person for inventing a new form of corruption where they allocate. Good morning, fam. It's early and I look terrible, but deal with it. Today, I want to talk to you about Tony. Good morning, fam. It's early and I look terrible, but deal with it. Today, I want to talk to you about Tony West. He is Kamala Harris's brother-in-law and the single-handedly most responsible person for inventing a new form of corruption where they allocate funds toward allied organizations by paying off their lawsuits by having the Justice Department settle them for huge sums of money. So in 2009, Tony West took over the civil division at the Justice Department, which is responsible for overseeing the settlement of lawsuits. For example, in 2010, there was a lawsuit that was on the cusp of being resolved. It stemmed from claims of bias and discrimination made by Hispanic and female farmers, and they sued the federal government. And the Supreme Court basically had a huge victory that made it look like this case was going to end finally after a decade plus of processing. And enter Tony Clark, who comes in and arranges a $1.3 billion settlement with these people over vehement objections from the Department of Justice lawyers. Now, after West's involvement, the projected settlement ballooned. It shot up to $4.4 billion. And a bunch of additional people were added to the lawsuit. So they were going to make sure that all their friends and buddies got paid out. Crucially, the lawyers involved in this project were getting paid out to the tunes of hundreds of millions of dollars, with one lawyer in particular getting $60 million. He happened to be a lead member of the Obama-Biden transition team, by the way. Now, all these details can be gleaned or read by you individually. If you go to Google and just search New York Post Tony West, the article, it pops right up. Titles like Kamala Harris's brother-in-law fleeced taxpayers for billions to give to left-wing groups. And as detailed in the article, fam, this is one-sided corruption. This is something only Democrats engage in. This is a new brand of corruption, honest graft, as they used to call these kind of things. It's just a cheap way to take billions of taxpayer dollars and give them to their friends, to just give them the money. And if you wonder why we've drifted left these last couple of decades, well, here's a big reason why. Now, you may recall a 2021 era lawsuit where illegal immigrants were suing the federal government because they thought the way that they had been handled during their illegal entry was emotionally traumatizing. Now, that lawsuit got squashed after people got wind of it, and there was massive public outcry. But quietly, the Department of Justice agreed to pay out the lawyers. And keep in mind, these organizations are all, rubbing each other's backs. So they get paid out, then they donate to Democrat candidates. And it's this incestuous cycle of corruption that leads to more and more communist-like behavior, mafioso-style control. And, that this is what the Democrats are doing. This is not the Republicans acting all fascist and weird and attacking their political allies with the justice system, trying to put them in jail. No. This is the Democrats. So get that straight, fam. Pay attention here. You guys got it all backwards because you barely pay attention. You watch CNN or MSNBC, and that's your only source. The New York Times are your only sources of information. Tisk, tisk, tisk. Shame, shame, shame. Do more reading. Expand your mind. And don't believe everything you hear on television. Stay safe. Stay sane. I'll be back in soon. I love you. Bye-bye.
What's American mission? That's what I'm about to tell you.
Wow.
The world is brimming with information, and yet the odds are you're not getting any of it. CNN and Fox News, MSNBC, they've become these fast food news companies, right? 30-second sound bites, appetizer clips. They're not giving you any news. They're giving you
Tasty tidbits of some newsy little treats.
right? It ain't journalism. It's corporate advertising. That's where American Mission steps in. Because now you've got a simple yet urgent call to action. Join the fight.
We must rise up, which is why I know every single one of you is here. Thank you.
Meet some great people like Kimberly C., Kelly J., Walter, JP, Andrew, Ryan, Pi, Stacy, Adam Karabachi, right? Ask them. They'll tell you the same thing that I'm telling you. It's not just about saving our values. It's about saving the soul of our unique country. Watching Sean Hannity ask a 60-second question for a 15-second answer ain't cutting it anymore. That's not making a difference. That's why getting involved with the group is so important. For me, it's American Mission, period. And that's because of the people who lead that group. DustinStockton, Jen Lawrence, they've been there.
Them who would make sure things didn't get out of hand. And you were in the opposite faction that said we shouldn't do that.
The campaigns, the elections, they fought the fights. That works for me. In fact, listen here to Dustin as he talks with Matt Storm, who, by the way, hosts a great podcast and is one of the best XSpace hosts out there. Ask any one of the Cardone sisters. Brothers, you're just jealous. Shut up. Anyway, here's Matt with JP, Jen, talking to Dustin.
What we found and where we have access to is the Color Revolution playbook that they have used and deployed against a bunch of us, including very specific examples of sending bots to demoralize people, personally hacking into people's accounts, sending out incendiary messages to like all their contacts, then deleting them all and giving people access back to their accounts so they seem crazy. Oh my God, that wasn't me. Somebody hacked my account and said everybody is right, like throughout all this inflammatory stuff. We actually have the records of them doing that shit.
Hey, American Mission has a treasure trove of talented people that they can bring into the fold at any time, Matt Storm just being one of them. I'm going to tell you about some of those people, tell you how you can follow them, tell you how you can get the inside scoop that only they can bring. But hold on. That's coming up, not right now. Hold your horses there, Pilgrim. Okay, that was outdated. John Wayne. American Mission forces state and local leaders onto the X platform to defend themselves, but also to promote themselves. I can't tell you how many local congressmen and mayors and senator candidates have all come on to the platform to engage with the American Mission audience. Maybe it's because they know in 2024, they've got to speak to us. These people at American Mission, they're active. And now you can be too. Support those who are fighting these battles because it's not just their fight, it's yours too. Stay informed, stay vigilant, and remember you can join me and Destiny every Wednesday at 5 o'clock, only on X. Stop by, introduce yourself, take the mic. After you've done that, come back here. Make sure you like and subscribe, hit that notification bell so you don't miss any videos. And leave a note in the comment section below. Let us know what you think. Those kind of feedback issues, they don't go unnoticed. They're heard. At American Mission, I'm telling you, your voice is heard. Because when you think about it, that's kind of how the United States is supposed to work. So if you're like me and you've got something to say, then say something.